was on The Office too.
Right.
Yep. And we're live. Good evening and welcome to the Whitfield Report Hangout live stream. I'm here with my good buddies Pikerus and Evil Eric. This is the unBearable Meltdown live stream, but we're talking about our favorite stand-up comedians right now, and hopefully the rest of the gang will join us here in just a bit.
Yeah.
Um, so
So getting back to comedy, I I used to watch Comedy Central Presents like back in like the 2000s. I used to watch Comedy Central Presents. It was on every Friday. They had like stand up comedy every Friday on Comedy Central. So I saw a lot of great comedians uh on that show. And then like when the when the 2010s hit, it just all started to go friggin' downhill, man.
oh yeah. Well, that was around the time when I started getting into I had started the podcast in 2008 and like for the first couple of years my podcast was mainly just me talking politics. Um but then like once I got into high school, like I want to say my sophomore or junior year, like I just got sick and tired of just listening to political commentary and just talking political commentary. But I still enjoyed like the dynamic of speaking. So that was when I
Yeah.
started getting into stand up comedy myself, and that was when I discovered Adam Carolla's podcast, and
Oh,
then
dude, I still love Adam Carolla. I don't care what anybody says. I still love Adam Carolla
oh yeah,
because
and
Adam Carolla didn't cuck out.
no. And to be fair, I mean, I've said this the last couple weeks. I don't really think people say that Joe Rogan cucked out, but I don't really ever think he was like really ever a political guy to begin with. Like
No.
it kind of seemed like he more or less got forced into the circle because of the SJWs.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But
so
the thing is that I still occasionally enjoy a Joe Rogan podcast. Occasionally,
oh, so do I. They're just it
few and far between.
Well, it's not even so much. I mean, it's not even so much that I enjoy them. I mean, I still enjoy them regularly, but like for me, I have to pick and choose which ones I listen to
Yes, exactly, exactly.
because damn, there some of them are 3 hours long, and depending on like how busy I am, it'll take me like anywhere from a day and a half to almost like 2 or 3 days to finish one.
Yeah,
So
same here. Like the last one, I I started watching the most recent one he did with Ron White. See, I love it when Joe has on comedians.
yeah, me too.
I love it when Joe Rogan has on comedians because they play off each other and it gets really funny at times. So, but Ron White, I don't even know how Ron White got hooked up with the Blue Collar Comedy Tour guys. I don't even know. He's not a clean comedian.
Yeah, that is weird how that worked out.
I think he's told that story before. There's something. There's an interesting story there. I don't remember it, but yeah, I listened to. I got like an hour into it, and I couldn't keep going. It was a lot of repeats of the first things they talked about the last time he was on.
But the thing is, he's been friends with Jeff Foxworthy for like 25 years.
That's probably it right there.
I,
I feel
I,
like there's a story that there was supposed to be someone else and they canceled or something.
mm,
Yeah,
but
didn't he leave and they got someone else? They got like a country singer, music guy that sang comedy, country music or something. Oh, I forget the guy's name.
yeah, um, I'm not sure, but I've been a fan of Ron White for a long time, and Ron White never ceases to make me laugh.
Googling it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't listen to too much of Ron White, but the bits I have heard just make me laugh.
Yeah,
So
like they call me tater salad, tater salad.
I
That bit still gets me.
I do love I do I am starting to get into Dave Chappelle too. The the New York Times said that Louis C.K. jizzed on his own stomach. Well, they didn't use those words. They used that fancy Pulitzer winning prize bullshit.
Yeah,
To,
Dave Chappelle is probably one of the funniest comedians working today.
oh yeah, well he's kind of taken Louis' spot
Louis'
right now.
spot, yeah, he's. Well, I always thought that Chappelle and Louis C.K. had a similar sense of humor.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, I think the only reason why Louis Louis is why David's number one right now is because Louis is kind of on hiatus. By the way, DZ guys, if I mean I'm ready, we're ready to talk at Owen's meltdown. We're just talking other stuff until you guys get in get in here.
Yeah,
So
we're yeah. But moving on to music. Um, yeah, man, I've been listening to like all kinds of stuff lately. Like old like 70s punk rock and classic rock and
yeah,
like
dude,
there's this
dude,
there's this band that I love that broke up a couple years ago called Person. It's like weird, like a throwback to like 70s psychedelic rock, but they're pretty dope. And it's a female, uh, a chick lead singer, but she's got a hell of a voice. So it's like it's pretty dope.
yep.
Here,
Um,
I'll post. Sorry, it kicked me out.
oh, that's fine.
Yeah, what I was saying is I'll post a link to one of their songs in the Hangout.
Oh, cool. Yeah, for some reason I can't actually go in the Hangout when when we're live since I'm the host. I have no idea
Yeah,
why that
but
is.
yeah, I'll post the song in the Hangout.
Is it person or second person?
Person, Person.
Oh, we should have spelled it normally.
Uh
That's why they're not around anymore.
speaking of bands with strong female leads, I've kind of been on a Pretenders kick lately.
Hey man, Pretenders were good.
They were, uh, and I've this is why I call Rush the troll before trolls existed, because the reason why he has My City Is Gone as his radio show theme is because he knew it would drive Chrissy Hind crazy. that song would become like an anthem for the right kind of. So
But like,
What is Josh doing?
what, Eric? Are you listening to Person right now?
No, I'm looking at the chat.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Person's pretty great, man. They're pretty dope. It's like I said, it's like a '70s psychedelic rock revival.
yeah, I just I started checking them out. They were pretty good. So thanks for that recommendation again. So
Yeah, yeah. I like to turn. Oh, and anybody in the chat and everything, if you wanna check out my friend's band, they're called Commonwealth. They got an album. They got an album coming out next month. It's called Nevertheless. Their first studio album. So if you wanna check that out.
I've been
Sorry, I'm making a white Russian.
The Caucasian.
A Caucasian, yeah, as the dude would say. As the dude would call it. But I actually like my white Russians maybe half and half like the dude.
Careful, man. There's a beverage here.
I'm already dreading when part 2 comes out and it ruins part 1. But it is what it is.
I don't think there is going to be a part 2. I wish there were a part 2, but I think that was all a stupid Super Bowl
I
thing.
thought they had already wrapped up filming, but that might have been part of a.
Wait, wait, really?
Yeah, I read that the Super Bowl ads were to promote the movie.
Oh. Well, since we don't have Jamie here, I guess I'll have to be the one to pull that shit up then.
Oh, too much vodka. Oh.
It says, yeah, it's at 20 years, blah, blah, blah.
Ooh, too much vodka.
It's been over 20 years since the Coen Brothers made a good movie. Oh, that's not what it is.
Good though. Oh, tasty. But yeah,
Is Sam Elliott is still alive, right?
yeah, like Sam Elliott's freaking awesome. Like Sam Elliott is really a super underrated actor.
Oh yeah, I totally.
He's super underrated. He's a fantastic actor. And he has such a distinctive voice.
This says John Turturro is currently working on a spin-off, which is called Going Places, focusing on his character, Jesus. That should be awful.
Wait, who's making a sequel?
John Turturro, he played the Jesus.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nobody wants to see that, so.
Oh, I put too much vodka in that white Russian.
It does look like you're right that it's been hinted that the whole thing was just a hoax for the Super Bowl ads.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading here.
But the John Turturro thing is happening. He's shopping it to numerous streaming apps. Great.
So it's gonna be like one of those streaming movies.
Yeah, it'll probably be a series or something.
You know, I originally thought that Fargo the series was going to suck, but it's actually pretty good.
It was good. I liked Fargo the series. It was very well done.
Right. That was one that was one when it was first announced. I was like, oh God, they're gonna fuck this up big time. And then when it turned out to be good, I was actually like, it was like one of those. It was like one of those things. The way I described Fargo the series to people that haven't seen it is like, um, you'll like it, but you'll love it, but you'll partially love it because like your expectations for it are so low that it kind of blows you away by how good it is.
Yeah, like I'm waiting for that show. My mom and I um watch that show on Amazon Prime, Man in the High Castle.
Oh, I haven't gotten into that one yet.
Oh, dude, it's it's freaking phenomenal. It is excellent.
I like I've been watching Bosch since it first came on Prime.
Yeah,
The
that's the like I I kept talking about it and I wanted to see it, and then my mom started watching it one day, so I sat down and watched it with her, and we both kind of fell in love with the show. It's pretty dope. My aunt won't watch it because she's like, oh, Nazis, you know. It's like,
oh yeah, that'll kind of put a damper on things.
Dude,
yeah, but
I've seen the first episode of so many shows. Like, just the first episode.
yeah, but Man in the High Castle, man, it's very well done. It is a very well done show. It's based on a Philip K. Dick novel.
Yeah, I know. Um, I mean,
Well, there's been several movies based on Philip K. Dick novels.
oh
Uh,
yeah, I mean,
Blade Runner,
yeah, probably.
uh, Total Recall, A Scanner Darkly. That's the only ones I can think of right now.
The interesting thing about Blade Runner is the Blade Runner movie is like way different than Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Sheep, yes, it's very different. But the Total Recall movie, pretty close to the book. They changed some stuff, but it's pretty close. Well, the story that Total Recall is based on is called "We Can Remember It for You Wholesale."
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep, it's based on the Philip K. Dick book. "We Can Remember It for You Wholesale." A Scanner Darkly, the movie, with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
That's like the name of the movie is the same as the book.
I've also
Oh,
heard.
fun fact: Alex Jones is in A Scanner Darkly.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, a very young Alex Jones too.
Yeah, yeah.
Pre Owen
I
Benjamin.
what?
Pre Owen Benjamin.
Trio and Benjamin. Guys, guys, did you know Alex Jones is in A Scanner Darkly? Um, but yeah, like I'm a bit of a movie and TV show buff,
So am
so
I.
yeah, like I love that shit. Like one of my favorite movies, and I'm trying to see if Count Cuckula will do like an exclusive for his friends or something, like a show. Because I want Cuckula to do an episode of Cringe Theater with Maximum Overdrive.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Killer Cars. Oh, I remember that movie.
Yeah, the Killer Trucks and stuff. I would
Yeah.
love to see Cuckula do a fucking episode of Cringe Theater with Maximum Overdrive. That'd be so
It
dope.
would work.
It would so work. It would be fantastic. But Cuckula tries to stick to movies that are available on YouTube and I like public domain stuff, and I think that's the smart move to go.
You, so you said I had no idea Total Recall was based on a book.
Yeah, it's based on a it's not really a book. I think it's a short story. But yeah, it's based on the story We Can Remember It For You Wholesale by Philip K. Dick.
Is the newer Total Recall from like 2 years ago based on the book or based on the previous movie?
I think it's based on the book.
Can't remember who was in that. I think Jessica Biel was in it. That's all I remember.
I really didn't like the new Total Recall. I didn't really like. I did like the new Judge Dredd though. That was neat. Carl Urban. That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Just Dredd, I think it was.
Aren't you also like a big book person too? I remember you saying in the ROTC chat, or was that someone else?
No, I like to read. I'm a reader. I like to
Yeah,
read.
so am I.
I like books.
I'm not really, well, I mean, I guess I am a reader, although people say, well, audiobooks aren't actually books, but I'm like, I'm like, yeah, they're still books. Shut up. It's the same. Um,
I like dude. Sometimes I'll put on an audiobook when I go to bed.
yeah, some like for a lot of the books I have to read for school, like I'll put them on when I have to like do stuff, like
Well,
laundry or
well,
something.
the last book I read was these cheap Resident Evil novels from like the late '90s, early 2000s.
That's pretty cool. I
Yeah, yeah, they're actually really fun, but they're some of my favorite books. They're a good read. That's all I have to say. They're a good read. I'm still like I have two of them on the Books app on my iPhone. So sometimes I'll just or get bored one day and I'll just start reading one. Like I bought them and I figured I might as well read them every now and again.
what's your favorite genre of books, would you say?
Dystopian fiction.
Hey Sam,
Yeah, yeah, Eric.
you can't um you can't share Owen's screen, can you?
I mean, I guess I could. I don't know if it would boot me off though. Let me see real quick if I could real quick. Let me.
I think he's in rare form. Right when I opened his stream, he was shadow boxing with George again.
But I was gonna say, Sam, my favorite book of all time is Fahrenheit 451.
Dude, that was actually I read that book when I was like I read that book when I was like 10, 11 or 12, and I realized it that I'm like, holy shit, that's why I was so red pilled at like an early age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I read that book, I realized like after a while, I started realizing that that's what the left wants. They want Fahrenheit 451. They want 1984. They want all that.
Yeah, totally. So,
Like
um,
there's two subtexts running through Fahrenheit 451. Two subtexts. One, technology will ruin us all, and censorship's evil.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I would agree. Now I think like I with the whole technology thing, as I've explained it before, I think it all depends on how we use technology as a whole. Like, like what we're doing right now, using technology to connect to one another. That's powerful. That's good.
That's really good.
But I mean, it's mainly the censorship that these private companies are doing that just really it does. The fact that they're going after Joe Rogan now, it depresses me a bit. So
Yeah, it's one of those things, Sam. You know, like when I read Fahrenheit 451 in high school, and I think that book kind of shaped my outlook to a point.
yep. Holy, I'm. Hang on.
And the thing that I find ironic is that my copy of Fahrenheit 451 was in the discarded books pile in my high school library, in like the free book pile. So I took it. And the ironic part about my copy is that it's all tattered and frayed. So I thought that was kind of like fitting. But I'm a the first book I read when I was in high school, like my freshman year, we had a sustained reading class or whatever it was, and the first book I took out of the library to read in that was The Dead Zone by Stephen King. That's one of my favorite books. The Dead Zone is a fantastic novel.
All right, I'm actually queuing up the Owen thing right now. I don't know if the audio will play through this, but we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
They're saying in the Discord that they're watching a special he just put out. I'm confused. He's not playing anything on his stream. Okay,
What's that, Eric? You're like super quiet.
Yeah, Eric, I think you're like too far from the microphone or something. I don't know what it is.
better?
A little bit.
Damn it. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way better, dude.
They're saying in the Discord that he's playing a special or something, but
That he's planning a special or
so he posted one on a website. I don't know. They're all watching it, but he's just streaming. All right, now he's making out with his dog. Crazy.
I always hate to admit I always hate to admit that I liked Owen at one point.
No,
yeah,
yeah,
so
good.
yeah, so do I. Well, I mean, the sad thing is people always whenever I say that I used to be like a bear, like people are always like, why? Like what? And I'm like, no, you do not understand. He was not always like this. That's like whenever they even start to like react, I always have to cut them off and say, first off, I know what you're thinking. He was not always like this.
No, he
Um,
wasn't. Like, and the funny part about Owen is that if you go back to his specials from like 10 years ago, they're great. They're great. They're funny. They're really funny. And then over time, he just got less
yeah.
funnier and less funnier, and then now he's just a ranting lunatic on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't. It was nothing like it is now. I mean,
It's crazy. Like I listened to his his old comedy albums, and I laughed quite a few times. Like I was like, oh man, this is really funny. And then I saw some of his recent stuff, and it's like it's all the same hacky shit over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him in like 2015, 2014, a while ago. Yeah, he was a piano relationship difference between men and women comedian. It was like pretty lowbrow, dumb date night comedy, and yeah, I don't think the internet is for him.
I don't either. Like, see, if we, I don't want to compare him to Mersh, but Mersh, when Mersh plays his old stand up bits, he's like, wasn't that great? But I'm like, it was good. It was decent. It was fun. But Mersh flourishes on the internet because he's probably been on it longer than all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Owen was fine doing his thing like late 2017, early 2018, and as soon as
So,
semi-critical
I'm
hit,
presenting the video of his stream. Can you guys see
I
it?
can see it. Yeah,
Can't hear it though.
you can't get hit with a strike if there's no audio, can you?
Transformative content.
Because I mean, even this picture is enough to go, what the hell is this guy doing?
Guys, I'm a ranting lunatic on the internet.
How would you just sit out there? I'd be.
Oh my God, he
I
just
hate
admitted
this
to being partially retarded.
Could have told you that, Owen.
Oh god, now he's attacking his dog.
Yeah, now he's trying to like, you know,
Oh, oh,
This the video of him like attacking his like punching his dog and stuff. I literally had to walk out into my living room and hug my dog.
what happened to the guy that sold him that dog?
I don't know.
Who was
Hey,
that, Sammy?
hey,
Bear?
Eric, your mic is still really low.
Better.
hey Josh, if you're still here in the chat, tell people to come in here. We only have like 2 people watching.
Did I fix it?
Here we go.
So yeah, one of these days, my netbook computer, I'm putting Linux on it because I'm tired of Windows. Tired of Windows. Because Windows 10 is complete garbage.
Wait. Did he just call Vox daddy?
Oh God, really? You just called Vox daddy? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Jeez.
No, Owen, no. Next thing you know, he'll admit they're in a homosexual relationship.
Oh God. Wait, what? He's talking about Jews like you saying that.
Go
Yeah,
on.
I'm not gonna repeat what he's saying.
Yeah, don't. You might get popped for it.
I'm sure that fixed it.
Knowing my
Yep.
yep.
Your audio is way better, Eric.
Yeah, I had to go from my $350 headset to my literally $9 headset that's broken. Now it works.
Yep, that's how that shit usually works.
Yeah. So, I mean, like Mersh will tell you, like the first time we ever went after Owen, it was my idea.
Well, Pikers, you were like I think you kind of came and went from the unbearables really before. I I don't know if you and I ever crossed paths in the
No,
Bears
I
even.
was more of a casual fan, not really a bear.
I mean I was podcast there, but like as I explained, I did that as a joke because I wanted people to promote my podcast.
Yeah,
That was
you wanted to promote your podcast. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But
yeah.
yeah, I was more of a casual fan of Owen. I wasn't really. I thought the whole calling yourself something bear was kind of dumb.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Same here. Same here. That well, like I said, that's why I basically used my bear name to shill.
Yeah.
So
Um. I just think Owen's like, to me. I don't hate the guy. I don't like the guy, but I don't hate him. I just feel bad. I just feel like, what's the word I'm looking for? I
you
feel
just pity him.
yeah, I pity him. Exactly. I pity him.
See I was in the same boat you were, but since since he named Brian and Gabe
Yeah, I hate him.
on a stream, yeah, I now hate him too. So
Yeah. I think the fact that he did that is pretty goddamn shitty, and he should atone for it. But I don't hate the guy.
well, I mean, I don't. Let me put it this way: I don't hate him to the level of like I want to do anything to him. Like I don't want to
Right.
harm him, but like it, but like when he loses all of his stuff, I'm not gonna feel bad for him
No, me
either.
neither. Me neither. I'm not gonna feel bad for him when he gets completely deplatformed. I am not gonna shed a single tear. Like, I'm gonna be like, you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself, fucko.
Right, like especially with YouTube, I'm a free speech advocate, but that's literally inciting violence or naming names. Like that's the one thing that I would
Yeah,
say
that's
flat out can't be allowed.
out. No, no, it can't. It's one of those things like 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 Owen is the literal definition of a garbage human.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that motherfucker went used to bang Christina Ricci. Like, he used to bang Christina Ricci. Like,
Now he's drunk in his backyard.
yeah, now he's drunk on his porch in his backyard, ranting on
Yep.
the internet.
Okay.
Yep.
Now he's just streaming his own special. So I think I'm gonna stop screen sharing this just because I don't want to get popped.
You're streaming Owen, who's streaming himself.
It's Owenception.
We need Owen to stream himself streaming himself.
String of
But yeah, um, but going back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show, um, to music and stuff. Like I grew up listening to all my parents all my parents vinyl, you know. So I listen to Cat Stevens, the Beatles, Marvin Gaye, you know, stuff like that. The Doors, Elton John, you know, stuff like that. And my brother just turned 40 in September. My brother, like when I was a kid, I always heard like alternative rock, like 90s alt rock in the
Yeah.
house. In the house, like it was like sometimes my brother would let me sit in the when he got like a new CD. He would let me sit. He would like pull me into his because we shared a room for a while, but he'd let me I'd be sitting in the room and he'd be like, hey, well, I don't want to use my real name, so he'd be like, hey, you know, come in here, I want to play you something. And I'm like, okay. So we'd sit there and I'd listen to music with my brother. It was really really kind of cool. Then my sister, when I went to Missouri for my sister's wedding in like '96, I was like 7. My sister let me have free reign of her CDs, so I literally just sat there. I listened to like Metallica and um like thrash metal and like REO Speedwagon and stuff. It was pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah. So I mean, so talking about musical history, then I guess I got into rock basically because I grew up with it. My my mom was a child of the '60s, but when grunge came around in Seattle, she was actually working for Microsoft when grunge was big, and Microsoft is in Seattle, so she became a Nirvana fan pretty early on. So like I actually, and that was like a weird thing too. Is like when I was growing up, like I was like the only kid whose mom liked Nirvana or Soundgarden or any of those bands. But then
Yeah, the whole Seattle grunge scene, man. I have a soft spot in my heart for grunge. I really do. I have a soft spot in my heart for grunge.
I do have to say that unpopular opinion. I've always I've always liked Soundgarden slightly more than
Nirvana.
Nirvana.
Yeah. I think I love Nirvana, but I always thought Soundgarden were the better band.
Oh
Well,
God, they're talent wise, they're not even comparable.
yeah.
No, no. Although Dave Grohl is a
Yeah,
fantastic drummer.
I
right.
I fucking love Dave Grohl. Not only that, but I mean I know it's kind of cliche at this point about Dave Grohl, but he just seems like the nicest dude that you would want to hang out with, too.
Yeah, I've said it for years. I think Dave Grohl is a fantastic drummer. Like his style is unique. I think he's an excellent drummer. He's not a bad guitar player either.
Him, uh, Neil Peart and Stuart Copeland are like my
Yep,
three.
yep, hell yeah. Neil Peart and Stuart Copeland. Stuart Copeland I love because his style is very kind of like the old jazz players.
Yeah, 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 which is funny because if you've ever heard like an interview with him, he hates jazz, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, I know. It's ironic. Like he plays like a jazz player, but he hates jazz.
also funny because Sting, aka Gordon Sumner,
Gordon Sumner.
came from the jazz scene in London. So
Yeah, he did. But the thing is that I always say is that Sting is a super underrated bass player.
oh, totally, dude. Those
Super underrated bass player. He's a
yeah.
he's an excellent bass. Like my favorite bass track of any Police song is "So Lonely" because he's just hit. It's just a great fuck. It's just a great freaking bass line. But I've said that for years that Sting does not get enough credit for being a really great bass player. He doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, my dad's best friend's brother has worked for Sting as a bass tech for 40 years. My dad's actually gotten to meet the Police a few times,
Yeah,
and
but
Sting
but
individually.
but my favorite band of all time is Queen.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. My favorite band of all time is The Who, and then
The
second to that is the Police.
the Police.
So
Yeah, Queen, man. Like I play a little bass, and one of my biggest influences is John Deacon, the bass player for Queen.
yeah.
It's one of my biggest influences, because he was a very melodic player,
Oh
and
yeah.
he was a yeah. John Deacon's a very melodic player, so there's a channel on YouTube called Multi-Track Bass Queen or something like that, and the dude has like a bunch of isolated Queen bass tracks posted on his channel. So I was listening to them, and I'm like, God damn, John Deacon was a really great fucking bass player.
I know you said you're not much into jazz other than like from the 40s, but
Yeah.
with that being said,
Although I do like Chick Corea.
you, well, you need you oh yeah, Chick Corea is awesome. But also you should check out, I'm sure you have if you're a bass uh player.
If you say
But
Jaco Pastorius, I mean, like, yeah, I've checked that out before.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Jaco Pastorius
Pastorius. Yeah.
with Weather Report. What Weather Report just as a whole is a great band. I don't like. Yes, they are jazz, but they're so much more than jazz too. Just like as a whole, you know.
Yeah, like my favorite bass players are like I love Geddy Lee.
Oh yeah. Eric, what is that of your avatar? I've been meaning to ask you for like a while.
That one
Yeah, the one that
Which
you
one?
have, the one that you
on
have currently is
on
in
Hangouts or in the this?
Hangouts.
That's me. Is Thanos.
Oh, you're Thanos. Okay, I've got.
Yeah,
Took me
it's
a
stupid.
while.
I meant to switch that to my Golden Girls one. I forgot to do it on my
You
Thanks
so
YouTube
for
accounts.
being a friend. Something and back again.
I love how we made the Golden Girls like a thing to troll Owen and Never. That was so.
I
That
was
was
actually I was more trolling based, but
oh yeah, oh yeah. We'll
Yeah.
base too though.
it was when all those dragon people were saying they were like the dragon group, and then I was like, well, whatever. We're the Golden Girls group. So stupid.
um, I I I just completely messed with those dudes, and I'm like, oh yeah, well we have tiger blood, so
Dude, that whole night was complete chaos.
You're an Adonis and you have tiger blood.
yeah,
Winning.
yeah. I could totally picture Mersh owning that type of personality though too.
Okay.
So
Dude,
uh
that night was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was when Jolly kept sending the Hulk Hogan gifts or whatever.
uh
Oh god,
Right,
it
brother.
was so
oh
funny.
yeah.
Oh, what is a faggot, brother?
Oh my god, Jolly is just like the master of organized chaos. chaos. Well, even his laugh is just so. And I know he doesn't even do it intentionally, but like his laugh is just pure like sinister laughter. So.
Yeah, but like I was saying, Sam. Like I listen to like a lot of different music.
Yeah. Well, then
A lot of it.
I'll have to send you a couple tracks of Pat Metheny because he he's not real like jazz, like smooth jazz or any kind. He's also from like the 70s, and I mean he's kind of like Jeff Beck in terms of styling, but his style is also pretty unique in and of itself. It's hard to explain. So
Yeah. I like Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck's good.
now, who's your favorite pianist? I have to ask.
Are you
Piano player. Hmm.
talking about a huge pianist or just normal?
Well,
Either
I
or.
I always thought Freddie Mercury was pretty boss on the piano.
Well, well,
Standard pianist.
well, Freddie Mercury was guys. Freddie Mercury was a sodomite.
Yes, he was. He
No,
was.
he was.
He was the sodomite.
He was he was the sodomite, and was he still managed to be less of a sodomite than you, Owen.
He
So
was the king of sodomites.
Yeah, but if we're talking about musicianship, Freddie Mercury was a fantastic piano player.
no, I know, I agree with you. It's completely appropriate that Freddie Mercury would be your favorite. You know,
Hmm.
guys, I'm better at piano than Freddie Mercury.
Mercury, I always cite that one of the most prettiest piano parts in the song is the piano part of the Bohemian Rhapsody, and nobody ever talks about it.
Oh my God, yeah, it totally is. So.
Yeah, but that's because there's way too many parts to talk about in that song.
It's true, but nobody ever talks about Freddie's piano in that song, and it really pisses me off.
So I don't know if I asked you this off air. I might have, but what did you think of as a fellow Queen fan? What did you think of Bohemian Rhapsody,
It
the
sucked.
movie?
It sucked. I hated it.
I thought it was okay, but like I obviously it was way too over dramatized. So
It didn't cover the true story. It made things up. It pissed me the fuck off.
well, it made Live Aid like the big like story arc, it, you know, as it were.
Pissed me off. They didn't talk about the actual true early days of Queen. It annoyed the shit out of me. I went to see it with my mom.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is fucking great though. The soundtrack is excellent.
Oh yeah. Well, obviously
But
it's all Queen. So
yeah, the soundtrack is excellent. But it's the first time they've ever released all the Live Aid songs on CD.
wow.
Mhm.
Oh, that I did not know that. I might actually have to go pick that up now because of that. So um
Yeah, the movie just fucking annoyed me as a giant fucking Queen fan since I was a teenager. Um, it really that movie annoyed the shit out of me.
I I have to say I am really nervous about the Elton John biopic. So
Me too. You know what? My mom, my mom is a huge Elton John fan, so she got me into Elton John. And I have to say that his early stuff from the '70s was fantastic.
yeah, to be
Dude,
honest,
that guy wrote the catchiest shit.
Oh yeah.
Did Rocket Man,
It's unreal.
Tiny
Yeah, it's the most
Dancer.
sing along. Yeah.
Well, Piker, since you're into both reading and music, I have to tell you, you need to read Pete Townsend's autobiography, Who I Am. It's one. I don't usually like autobiographies, but his was probably the best book I've read this year. Period.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard about it. I heard it was fantastic.
Well, I mean, and obviously the Who is my number
Number
one.
one favorite band. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I like the Who. Like what's his John Entwistle is one of my bass idols.
oh yeah. So, well, I mean, I don't really write songs, but I've kind of dabbled in it like a little bit in just the lyrics. Pete Townsend wrote a lot of the lyrics of the song. A lot of people think that Roger wrote a lot of that music because he sings it, but I mean Roger.
No, that's kind of like Led Zeppelin. It's like people think Robert Plant wrote the songs. No, it was fucking John Paul Jones.
Well, okay, so since this is the big controversy right now, so do you really think that everyone's like getting pissed off that like Led Zepp supposedly stole, you know?
Well they did. They did steal songs, but I still love Zeppelin.
Oh yeah, I love Zeppelin too, but like Rogan and Diaz were talking like a few weeks ago about like Led Zeppelin may have to go to court. Like I honestly don't care. Like Led Zeppelin is Led Zeppelin, and it was like 40 years ago.
Yeah,
So
exactly. But I like the obscure Zeppelin songs, like "Fool in the Rain." Well, "Fool in the Rain" was a hit, but "Fool in the Rain" is a killer fucking song.
I like Southbound Soiree. That was Southbound Soiree is my
Yeah,
favorite song off of.
yeah. Misty Mountain Hop's pretty dope. I love John Paul Jones' keyboard riff in Misty Mountain Hop. The do 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 do.
I yeah
That thing. His keyboard riff, and but my favorite Zeppelin song is "Trampled Underfoot" because John Paul Jones plays this wicked clavinet solo. That's so freaking dope.
my favorite
It's
song
so
is
dope.
My favorite song is Stairway to Heaven. No, just kidding. That song is overrated.
It's well, no, I love "Stairway to Heaven," but it's overplayed for me now.
Yes, yeah, same here. I just said that to be funny.
Just like, just like Bohemian Rhapsody, I love the song, I love it, but it's overplayed, and I can only listen to it once in a while.
My favorite Led Zeppelin song is actually well, there's just so many I love. It's hard to really put one, but the one song I feel is like really underrated is I can never pronounce it right because it's a Greek name, but Achilles' Last Stand, or
Achilles Last Stand.
yeah, Achilles' Last Stand. So
You know, Hart listed the riff for Barracuda from that song.
yeah, I definitely kind of I always thought that was the case.
Yeah, Hart listed the riff from Achilles Last Stand for Barracuda.
Well, I mean that song just from beginning to end like functions like a well-oiled, like I don't know how else to explain, but
A
like
well-oiled machine. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's like what else? Ramble on is pretty dope.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Zeppelin song, besides everything that Greta Van Fleet sings, because they are the best.
Greta Van Fleet.
They all,
My
it's so
my
bad.
my brother said Greta Van Fleet sounds like Zeppelin if they never broke up.
It's so bad. No, they sound like a shitty Zeppelin cover
Zeppelin
band
cover band.
that won't just be a cover band. Like, it's so bad. I don't get it.
I
People love it.
I
It
actually,
drives me crazy. It's so
No,
bad.
there was only like 2 songs by Greta Van Fleet I actually liked. There's like 2 songs.
It was so dumbed down, Zeppelin too. It was like the simplest shit. Like, yeah, it's bad. But they're rich.
I actually,
Don't say it. Do
I
not
don't,
say it.
I don't love them, but okay, I like them mainly because they're bringing back classic rock in an era where hip hop and soda pop music seem to be dominating the airwaves. So, um,
Yeah, but they're like a bad Zeppelin ripoff.
yeah, I mean, I would like to see them. I would like to see them try and like write other like the other thing that sucks though is like I guess that dude whoever like heads up that whoever is the lead singer like I have to wonder if he intentionally sounds like that or if that is actually him because man if that's him then like I feel like that band has potential to write good stuff but
Oh,
Yeah, but they're trying too hard to be Zeppelin.
yeah well I don't know how hard they're trying to be Zeppelin. I haven't heard of them having any wild sex parties or you know coked up.
they don't even acknowledge it. Like if you've seen interviews or read interviews, they act like it's just a coincidence. And the dude does not talk like that. Like it's a fucking voice that he's doing. It's the whole. I don't even like talking about it because it's so pathetic, and people like it. It drives me crazy. They're shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I like probably like I said, I like 2 Greta Van Fleet songs, Safari Song and I think Black Smoke Rising. Those are like the only 2 songs I like.
I like Meat on the Ledge, which to me that kind of even Meat on the Ledge to me that one seems like a rip off of not even Led Zeppelin but Blue Oyster Cult. So
Yeah,
which is another band I love. So uh,
yeah, I love BOC, bro. Like my favorite BOC, one of my favorite BOC songs is Godzilla,
I
That's
and
the song.
Cities on Flame at Rock and Roll. That's a pretty dope song. Just the opening drums, the cities on flames, cities on flame at rock and roll. The opening drums is pretty awesome.
I like Burning for You,
Mm.
obviously.
Yeah, that's my favorite of theirs.
Yeah, Burden for You is pretty awesome. It's like yeah,
Uh,
Burden for You is pretty dope. Um, yeah, like if we're gonna talk. Man, I wish Chuck was here.
He'll just be talking about Thin Lizzy. That's all
Yeah,
he'll be
yeah, he
talking
would.
about.
He would. Chuck could just be going on about Dude, I love Thin Lizzy though.
I if now see if Chuck were, I mean Chuck, Eric, and I could do this. Oh, also if Meritocracy were here, like the four of us would all be talking about Rush probably, and
Rush. I love Rush.
what I love Rush. I've watched Beyond the Lighted Stage like 6 times, so um,
One like as somebody who does occasionally play drums, I think Neil Peart is an influence on me
oh yeah.
just for just because I like the fact that he uses all different types of freaking drums.
Yeah,
Not just the standard kit. It's like rototoms and freaking bells and stuff. It's just
I love the fact that they did losing it at their farewell tour.
yeah. One of the coolest songs I've ever heard Rush do is their cover of Cream's Crossroads.
Oh yeah, I heard that. That was cool.
It was pretty awesome. Like, it's pretty awesome. Like I'm like because well, as a bass player, like Geddy Lee also an influence.
Oh yeah.
Um, I just like I can't even describe like Geddy's playing style. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It's
I
like
I can't either. But
he's got this like hard attack, but it's really melodic, and that's kind of weird, but it goes really well with what Neil and what Alex Lifeson and Neil Peart are doing.
yeah,
It goes really like the three of them together just meld really well.
my I obviously I love YYZ. So
Yeah, YYZ. Uh, I love that song. It's like just Neil Peart's drumming on YYZ is just second to none. It's just epic.
yeah, I mean, moving pictures just as an album is great too.
Yeah, it is. Moving Pictures is a I like one of my favorite Rush songs is Spirit of Radio.
Oh yeah, I I I wanted to use I wanted to use Sphere of Radio so bad for my podcast when I was first starting out, and then when I learned about about the whole royalties thing. I mean, keep in mind I was a kid, so I didn't really know, but I was crushed. I'm like, what? I wanted that to be like my theme so badly. So
Yeah, Spirit of Radio um is is good. Limelight's a great song.
that, or I would have wanted like Ted Nugent's Stranglehold.
Hold. It's not Ted singing on that, you know.
No, no, I know it's not
It's what's his name?
Derek St. Holmes or whatever.
Derek St. Holmes, yeah.
My
Um
okay, so my yeah,
dude, I have to say Derek St. Holmes has a killer fucking singing voice.
yeah, he does. But was he only with the Nuge, or I feel like I've heard him other places too.
I think he's sang with a. I mean, he plays guitar too, so I think he's done a couple other things with a couple other bands. But that's what I always say about Derek St. Holmes is that the man's singing voice is freaking awesome.
I came up with like a not really a bit, but like an idea for a sketch, like in my mind, like just ridiculous, song pair, just ridiculous like musician pairings, and one of them was Michael McDonald with Ted Nugent. So
Michael McDonald, my name is Michael Stranglehold, catch crack fever.
Wang dang sweet potato.
Wednesday, sweet potato.
Uh,
But yeah, I like the Nuge, man.
oh yeah, I love the Nuge too. I almost got the Nuge on my show years ago now, and then something happened. Like the guy was the guy who was going to send my contact info to Nuge's people, like allegedly lost my contact info. Allegedly. So
Dude, that would have been dope if you got the Nuge on your show. That would have been dope.
I still want the Nuge on.
You
on.
know, he was on Rogan, and I actually enjoyed that episode of Rogan.
Oh, so did I. So
I really did. I freaking enjoyed that episode. Like I was like, shit, I didn't know Ted was actually a really cool guy.
Yeah, I've met him probably 12 to 15 times.
what, Eric?
Yeah, there's a multiple run-ins with him, but my uncle in like 1992 won a radio contest to go hunting with him in Alaska, and they became good friends. And so when I was younger, he used to come to our family parties, like at my uncle's house. Not all, like a few. And then Baldwin, Michigan, Lake County. He's the honorary sheriff. He has a huge ranch up there, so he's up there all the time. There's not very many people in northern Michigan, and that's where my cottage is.
Right.
And so he obviously, through my uncle, was like, "Oh, you got a place up there?" And I met him. I mean, it's been a long time. Probably the last time I met him in person was probably 20 years ago. But yeah, when I was growing up, met him a bunch of times, and he was exactly how he was, how he always is in person. I remember going like, "What is up with this dude?" And I was like,
The Motor City Madman, man.
"Yep." He even drove one of his zebra Broncos to at least one of the parties that.
Yeah, the Motor City Madman.
Yep.
Yeah. So
But yeah, there's a lot of like fucking like what really annoys me is that rap and pop music are like the biggest things now. Nobody cares about rock anymore.
I know, and that's why I'm set. So again, that's why I'm saying I at least respect Greta Van Fleet for doing what they're doing because they're bringing that attention back.
Yeah, but like it just annoys me. Like and like it really pisses me. Like when I was a kid, we're talking like mid '90s. When I was little.
Mm-hmm.
The airwaves were dominated with like Smashing Pumpkins
Yeah.
and freaking you know like Pixies and stuff like that. And you know, like when I was like in middle school, I was really super into pop punk.
How old are you? Mid-30s?
Early 30s.
Yeah, we're close.
Mid-20s here.
I literally turned 30 like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Thanks. But yeah, like I remember like watching like MTV when I was a kid and like just seeing like Smashing Pumpkins and like um you know and like Nirvana and like
I haven't. Yeah, I have not gotten much into Smashing Pumpkins. I need to though. I have that one song 1979 that I love, but
dude, if you want to start with Smashing Pumpkins, start with their second album, Siamese Dream. Start there, because that album is fucking fantastic. That whole album is fantastic.
I always tell people to start with the second album of the Foo Fighters too, which I guess is technically their first as a group, but that that album too is great.
Because the Pumpkins' first album, Gish, is good. It's really freaking good. Like, I like it. But I always tell people, start with their second album. Start with Siamese Dream and work your way either backwards or forwards.
Yeah.
Because Siamese Dream has Today on it, Cherub Rock, Mayonnaise is a really killer song. It's like I don't know. I can't even describe Mayonnaise. It's such a killer freaking song. But um, uh, it's just Siamese Dream is actually my favorite Smashing Pumpkins album. Just that's and the album after that, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. That's
Oh
really
yeah.
good too. That's really good
What
too.
was Color and Shape was Foo's second, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a good album.
yeah. Color and Shape is pretty good.
My my favorite my favorite song of Color and Shape is actually My Hero.
My Hero is a good track. My the song I loved by the Foo Fighters when I was a kid was Big Me.
Yeah.
Just cause
Yeah,
of,
I
just
hated
cause,
like the music video.
just cause of the music video.
Yeah, ever like
Mentos.
off Color and Shape. If
Did
Everlong was on Color,
did did
I
you
thought that
did
was the best
did
song off
you
that
know
album.
did you know that when that song Big Me came out, that when Foo Fighters would play shows, people would just start winging fucking
Throwing
packets
Mentos at him. Yeah,
Mentos at them, just freaking chucking Mentos on stage.
My so my mom is a big Nirvana fan, but she can't. She thinks that Foo Fighters are pop music, and she and I always argue. I'm like, Mom, Foo Fighters.
yeah, they're like a mixture. I mean, they usually throw like a real heavy track on each album, just like they just had that. What was it? 2 albums ago, that White Cadillac song was like super heavy.
Well, one of the Foo Fighters guitar players, Pat Smear, was in the Germs.
Oh yeah, dude, he's bad.
Pat Smear was the
Yeah, he just came back.
Pat Smear was the fourth member of Nirvana too.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
right.
he was their touring guitarist.
yeah. So um, I have to say that the Foo's hardest album was Back and Forth, the one that came out in 2014. I think that's the one Eric is referring to with White Limo. So
I liked the one that had the album that had the song that Paul McCartney plays drums on.
uh oh, that's not a Foo Fighters album. Is that I think that's from like the Sound City documentary.
No, it's a Foo Fighters album.
Oh, okay. Wait, Paul McCartney plays drums too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
How did I not? How did I not know that? I should. I'm a.
Yeah, and his I think this I forget the name of the song, but his drum track is really freaking good. His drum track is great.
You'll probably never see him do it live, but the recording is great.
My my favorite live performance. One of his is it's no longer online either anymore. Sadly, um, is the Foo Fighters at Wembley Stadium when they did Everlong. Um, so
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Foo Fighters song ever.
the the live version is the best of that. So
Yeah.
The
Well,
problem they're coming. The problem with them is, I mean, they're so big. I can't do stadium rock concerts. It's just so It's so not intimate that I'm like,
Neither can I, but and I mean, where does Kiss rank on your guys' list?
I don't think they're on it.
I like Kiss.
I mean, they're
Oh,
fine, like, whatever. Like, there's some songs that are catchy. I mean, there's whatever. Like, it's just not. I don't really care.
I admire Kiss for their business, acumen.
For their pinball machines?
Well, yeah, that that and all the other 40,000 products they have.
Yeah, that's a funny thing, just to start just mass producing random everything Kiss. That's funny.
The Jews.
Yep. Prime example.
So
well, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley are.
I love just how like it annoys people, but I love how huge Gene Simmons' ego is too. So I especially love that one HuffPo interview where I don't know if any of you saw this, but he did an interview on HuffPo where I guess he had like tweeted out something like, immigrants should learn English if they're going to live here in America. And so this 20-something intern at HuffPo was doing like an interview with him, and he was like, "Don't you think that's a little incentive?" And Gene Simmons was like, "No, English is the language of business. I had to learn English when I came here. My mother, bless her, still struggles with English, but she learned. It's not that hard. Just study and learn goddamn English. It's not that hard. You will learn." So, and the guy was just speechless. So,
You got to read the chat.
which chat? Our chat
Yeah.
on Discord or on
On YouTube. Owen's in here.
Oh, let's see what Mr. Sodomite is up to.
That's him. It's got to be.
I'm looking through my my library on my phone, looking at artists. Let's see, I've got Alanis Morissette, Alice Cooper, Alice in Chains, Alien Ant Farm, Alkaline Trio.
Let's
You got a '90s playlist. Rock. See, I'm not. That's funny because like I said, I'm 36, and that was my era of like really. And I'm not into any of that '90s music. I mean, I'll hear some of it, and I'm like, I remember listening to this, but it's not really anything I listen to now. I mean, there's some old, Biggie and Tupac, and stuff like that, but that's.
No, man, I'm still. Man, I love all kinds of music. I don't care what era it's from.
I mean, and like Foo Fighters and stuff like that, and Failure and bands like that I used to listen to that I was really into. But yeah, all the mainstream stuff from, especially the late '90s, I couldn't give a shit less about anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
okay. I have to admit, I made myself laugh there. But, so.
At Epcot, you got even more specific. What is it? At Epcot?
Vox invented the dumpster pump. God bless you, whoever is doing the Owen parody account. So
I didn't even know who Vox Day was until Owen. Like, and not that long ago. I'm like, people talked about him for a while, and then one night, then when we all went into his chat, I was like, this is him.
I knew.
He looks like a baby.
Oh my God, he does. He totally does.
Fox, God, I can't stand Fox Day. I really can't stand him.
Brock,
I've never watched one thing besides the one night that we infiltrated his stream. I've never seen anything else, and
uh,
it wasn't great. He looked like the boss baby.
no,
That Fox is very cool.
no, no. Vox Day reminds me of like Frank from It's Always Sunny,
No, it's
except for
funny.
like
Remember that Always Sunny with Fight Milk?
yes.
Okay, so I follow this channel on YouTube called How to Drink, right?
Yeah.
And the guy's name's Greg. He makes cocktails. Like he shows you how to make cocktails and stuff, and then drinks them on camera. So today, the episode he posted today was he made fight milk. He made it into a cocktail.
Hey guys, do you want to jump in here and talk nonsense in the chat? We're that's what we're do. That's what
Yeah,
we're doing.
we're just talking about nonsense. Just anything goes.
Rock music. I named this the unbearable. I named this the unbearable meltdown because because that's what I mean. To be fair, the unbearable meltdown. It's not just tonight. We've been witnessing the unbearable meltdown for months and months and months. So
Yeah, let's see. I have a bunch of like random shit in my music library.
oh yeah, so do I.
Just random. I'm looking at the songs and I'm like, what do I have? I have Alice in Chains. I have Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. I have like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Like I'm a big fan of the Boss Tones. The one of my favorite ska bands. But see the thing about Jersey is New New Jersey was the East Coast hub for ska punk.
I still want to see you and Chuck and Cocula form a band together. All of you jump in as like some Diamond David Lee Roth figure if you need me. Me too.
Yeah,
So
like I like seriously. Yeah, New Jersey was the East Coast hub for ska punk in the '90s. So I grew up hearing like they played one of the local radio stations played a lot of ska. So it's like I remember a few years back before it switched back to its original like late '90s format. That one of the stations here was G Rock Radio, and they played like '90s and 2000s like rock, like pop punk and like metal and stuff like that. It was like I had a T-shirt, but the T-shirt fell apart after a while. They got too small and it fell apart. But because I wore the T-shirt like out. It's,
that
it's one of my favorite T-shirts. Because I wish I still had it because it's not even a radio station anymore.
Now I'm oh, I guess Eric's iPad just died. He says iPad just died like Michael Jackson. Ew.
Yeah, Sam. I barely listen to the regular terrestrial radio anymore.
Neither do I barely listen to talk radio anymore, except for like maybe Rush, and how I've been subscribed to Rush's podcast now. So I just
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Rush Limbaugh.
really what really
Nah, it doesn't appeal to me.
you're banned, bro. No. What? Why? I'm curious.
He just I don't like the way he presents himself.
Just well, yeah. I mean that's understandable.
I don't like the way he presents himself. But the times I have listened to Rush, I've agreed with him on stuff. But I just don't like the way he presents himself. It comes off like a real piece of shit. But that's just me.
That now see that's how I feel about Howard Stern. Like everyone talks about how great Howard Stern is, and I'm like, this guy is a douche.
He really is. Howard Stern is a giant freaking douche. Like he is a giant douche.
And I mean, that's part of his bit, and it's like, yeah, I get that, but like, to a certain extent, it's like just turn it down to like 9, or
yeah. I still love Alex Jones.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
I
still love Alex Jones. So,
I used to hate Alex Jones because I was like never really into 9/11 conspiracy theories at all. Because my whole logic was just like, okay, if the government is so horrible at everything that they could never keep like a cover up like that. So like, I used to really like to test any conspiracy theory crap of any kind. But now I went from hating Alex Jones to now like absolutely loving him, just because like
it's the Chinese techno fascists.
So, oh yeah, the Chinese, yeah,
the Chi-coms, the Chinese techno fascists. I've got the documents, and the Chinese techno fascists. They're trying to take over America.
Human animal hybrids. That's my new favorite thing that he's done.
Human animal hybrids. We've got them now. I've got the documents right here in the studio.
So someone on my chat, maybe it was in the RTC chat. One of them said, whichever company supplies printer paper to Alex Jones is a rich man.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That's completely truthful.
I secretly want Alex Jones to just go on a rant against Owen.
Smarter than the average bear.
I just bears are part of the Illuminati, ladies and gentlemen. And the Illuminati is part of the New World Order. Owen is part of the New World Order. So, oh my God, I just came up with, guys, we need to make Alex Jones think that Owen Benjamin is part of the New World Order. I'm serious. Could we get like people on that? That'll get Alex's attention for sure. I mean, hell, he got mad at Joe for a while because he thought Joe was part of the New World Order for simply interviewing Jack Dorsey. Um,
Yeah, like, man, that Jack Dorsey is a shill.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Jack Dorsey. I don't really know what to make of him. Like, yeah, he is to me, Jack Dorsey is he's not necessarily like a bad. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's the type of guy has like no who has like no idea what's going on around him. So,
Well, he's too cracked out on heroin to care.
well, yeah, him and Ellen both. So, um,
Yeah, when I watched the Rogan interview with Dorsey, and I thought, oh my god, like Jack Dorsey is one of those guys that's infinitely punchable.
yeah,
Like no matter how you look at it or anything, you like whenever you see Jack Dorsey actually speak and talk about something, you just want to punch him in the face.
I don't. I don't want to punch him in the face as much as I want to punch Zuckerberg in the face. Like,
Oh, yeah, Mark Zuckerberg. You mean that robot? That fucking robot?
and folks, I mean that figuratively, of course. I'm
Yeah,
not.
we're talking about in Minecraft.
Yeah, yeah. In Minecraft. So,
In Minecraft. I'm not. Is anybody in the chat?
there are some people watching right now. So,
All right. Okay. I want to address the chat. Whoever's in the chat, what is your favorite band?
everyone is saying poor George and Walter, and that's also also. I mean, yeah, I do feel bad for those kids. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, me too. Like growing up with a father like Owen, Jesus Christ.
The worst part of it is when is like they're the first generation of kids that is going to grow up with like everything with like the entirety of their life being documented like
Mhm.
online. So
Exactly.
especially them though, because like Owen's been they're going to watch their father. Oh, Alan Powell says, imagine how bad it would be if one of his kids was gay. Dude, Alan, I actually legit thought that today while I was out at
Oh,
lunch.
oh my God! God forbid one of his sons is gay. Oh my God! God
No,
forbid.
yeah, no, I actually seriously, I, I, I went out to McDonald's today for lunch. Yes, I eat at McDonald's like Mr. John Neary does every once in a while. So
Him,
soon.
him, hey Sam. Nothing wrong with a Big Mac, brother. Nothing wrong with a Big Mac.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you know who well, you know who our buddy Neary is. I think Neary used to do
I know of him. Yes.
Neary used to do these hilarious streams where it would just be like him going through like Wendy's drive-through or McDonald's drive-through and like telling people like how to order off the dollar menu for like dirt cheap. So
Yeah. Isn't that the guy that did that roast to Nimmer and Nimmer got all butthurt?
he's the
Yeah.
yeah he
See,
yeah
see that because Nimmer is a confirmed leftist. They don't know how to take jokes. Everything is a personal affront to them.
Well, Owen. I mean, I've said this too. Owen's a leftist too, and so are all the Bears. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like,
It's, to me, it seems like Owen just loves LARPing as a right winger.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, he's been doing that from the beginning, though. You know, he. I mean, I. So to be honest, like I know that ROTC and those guys have been going at Joby, and yeah, like from what I've seen, Joby is a piece of crap. But like Owen's also been LARPing as a conservative for a long, long time, and yeah, so it's just see I joined in like 3 weeks later. Everything went off the rails of the unbearables. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like like it's just crazy. Like, you know, it just yeah, it seems like Owen's whole crew, they're all lefty, they're all leftists. All of them are.
yeah, well,
Based and Dolev and
yeah,
all them weirdos. They're all lefties.
oh
Cause
yeah.
because if they were right wing, they wouldn't be doing gay ops like they do.
I mean, look, they so I know that some of them claim to be even libertarian, but dude, they're not even like libertarian. If they were libertarian, they still would not be doing gay ops. Hell, even less so because libertarians just like believe in letting people be. So
Yeah, exactly. Like it just it and the thing that base Texan was like scamming people.
no, I will say this. This is where I do kind of disagree with Mersch. At this point, I don't really I don't really think that I don't think that Mersch should have given the name of the guy who gay ops Owen to Owen. I'm not condoning I'm not necessarily condoning gay ops, and again, none of us have done that. But at the same time, I mean, Owen has basically like gay ops to everyone else. So
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from, Sam. I get what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
uh, it's I'm 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 against gay ops, but I'm not against karma ops. If that makes
Yeah, karma ops. I That makes sense. Yeah, karma ops. Like letting not doing anything, just letting it sort itself out.
hmm and who knows? I mean that guy could have just been bragging to you know
Bragging to brag.
yeah that I mean I get people who do that all the time. I had this one lady claimed to be like a secretary to Al Gore, and she emailed the show email and was like, Vice President Gore would like to be on your podcast. I'm like, I very much doubt that the former vice president even knows who I am. So,
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Like
but
that's pretty ridiculous.
even if that were true, I would just screw with Al Gore the whole
Yeah, I would too. I totally would too. I'm
I
like, Mr. Gore, So tonight's we're gonna discuss global warming. It's not real, Mr. Gore. It's not real.
But, however, Mr. Ward, will you accept that the man bear pig is real?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Just start subtly bringing up man bear pig.
Did Bill Clinton sodomize anyone in the White House? So,
You know what?
I
Doesn't like the way Al Gore speaks? Doesn't he seem a little gay?
oh yeah. So I would totally ask Al Gore questions, not so much about Bill because we all know that Bill is Bill, but I would
Bill Clinton. Hi, I'm Bill. Hi, I'm Bill Clinton.
I am not here.
I did not have sex with relations with Miss Lewinsky, but I did have it with my hand.
I just, as soon as you did the Bill Clinton impression, the image of Amy Benjamin hooking up with Bill Clinton flashed through my mind.
Hi, Amy. I'm better than Owen.
You know.
It's like that. It's like my favorite thing. One of my favorite things. It's like Frank Caliendo's a bit hacky now, but that one bit where he's like, "I am not here."
I know. That is how I picture Bill Clinton to this day. So
exactly. I just think you can.
I am not here.
The whole Frank Caliendo bit is like, he's like, yeah, Bill Clinton was so charismatic. He could walk in there and be like, I am not here. You don't see me. I'm not here.
Bill Clinton would be an upgrade to Owen though. Well,
yeah, but you don't want to like. The thing is that you notice that no comedians really made fun of Obama when he was in office.
No. I mean Miller did, but Miller's one of our guys. So.
Yeah, Dennis Miller is one of our guys, but nobody really made fun of Obama.
Well, that's because the bleep runs Hollywood. So.
Mm-hmm. I'm President Obama, and I ruined this country.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. The one comedian not while Obama was in office, but I'll tell you what, the one comedian who does a great job of roasting them all is Dana Carvey. So
yeah, Dana Carvey roasted in his special. What was it? 60
straight white male.
What, straight white male 60?
Yeah.
He roasted everybody in that.
Oh yeah. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. I mean, he does everyone's idiosyncrasies perfect too, and it's hard to do Obama's idiosyncrasy. It is.
It's hard. I can't even do an Obama. I mean, I can kind of do a President Bush one. Like,
what?
Not gonna do it.
Not
gonna eat that broccoli.
No.
That's right. Not gonna eat that broccoli.
Not gonna. I can kind of do George W. Bush a little bit. I'm George W. Bush. We're I can't do it. We're
gonna get them terrorists. We're gonna get them. We're gonna get them.
We're gonna
mission accomplished.
I could totally picture George Bush doing a doing like Operation Iraqi Freedom instead, but instead it's Operation Free George. So
Yeah,
we're
we gotta get Owen Benjamin's dog.
we're we're sending 60,000 troops into to Owen Benjamin's backyard. Mr. President, don't you think that's a little excessive for one guy? Well, the unbearables are like Al Qaeda.
Unbearables are like Al Qaeda. That's funny, Sam. Good. The unbearables are Al Qaeda.
The sad thing is now I said that ironically for comedy purposes, but now that I think on it, it's actually kind of
It's
true.
true. Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. I don't know. But it's just like from when I started watching Owen like last year till now, he really took a turn downhill, man. It went from being, oh, all right, this guy's kind of cool, you know, I like his live streams and stuff, and then all of a sudden it was just like, what the fuck is he going on about?
Oh, Owen went from, hey guys, let's just hang out and play music and have a good time, and anyone's welcome, all the way to you know, the Jews ruin everything, and yep, the unfuckables. I can't remember what I don't call them the I don't call them the unfuckables. Oh, what do I? Oh, I just call them all bear fags. I think so. Um,
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of different channels I watch on YouTube, man, and you know, some are great, some are, but I like watching a lot of small YouTubers.
why? Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy the smaller channels like a lot more than like the big name channels.
Yeah, I mean, I like the same with I like the same with like ROTC, and I like smaller podcasts like that too.
Yeah,
So
me too. But the one podcast that Mersh always promotes, Come Town, is really freaking funny.
I I'm subscribed to Come Town. I haven't really listened to them yet. Like
Listen to it, man. Nick Mullen is freaking funny as hell, dude.
I
I'm telling
started
you.
I started
Nick Mullen is great.
I started to listen to one podcast of theirs, and then I stopped because I didn't think it was great, and I told someone, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that was kind of an off episode." So
Yeah, I love Come Town. It's so freaking funny. But you know, I still listen to Kevin Pollak's chat show.
I um I I was subscribed to WTF for a while, uh, just because although Mark Maron is a leftist, his interview style was kind of interesting, and then I lost interest completely.
Yeah, I used to be a big fan of Mark Maron, and not anymore.
I'm
Although one one of my favorite comedians turned out to be a giant lefty, and it really disappointed me.
Yeah, no, that is disappointing. So I'm getting chat from the from the back room. Oh, yo, Neri, what's up?
I've known you for how long, and you still call me Neri. I will
Near
never,
eye, sorry.
I will never get the respect I deserve.
You know why I call you Near instead of Near Eye is because the one of the character names in The Godfather is
Oh
Al.
yeah, there's a Neri in there. No,
So
so the funny thing is that Neri is actually how you're supposed to pronounce it.
yeah,
But when my grandfather was assimilating and trying to establish his businesses in the non-Italian part of town, he was like, "Yo, it's not Neri. It's pronounced Neri," just to assimilate. So
uh,
he changed the pronunciation himself to sound less Italian, and yeah, so like I kind of there's like honor in that, so I kind of like that.
and
But
see,
I'm not. But
and
Neri's not offensive. I just give you shit for no reason.
well, you guys give me shit for everything, as you should.
That's
So.
the fun part. Isn't that the fun part?
Is your avatar a dude sitting on the toilet dumping his ass?
It certainly is. Certainly is.
Yeah, like I said, Pikers, you missed some of the best streams, like John going to McDonald's, John doing acrobatics, if we could call it that. So
You know what's funny is like I did a morning show every day from 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern, and I really like fucking tried to make that like entertaining and informative. But nobody remembers any of my shows. They remember the bull crap that I was doing at the jungle gym and
I
fucking going to McDonald's and rapping. Like nobody remembers anything that I did. They
I
just remember the bull crap.
I do remember on the show though, you always used to make fun of Canna and I and Amethyst. Well, you used to always troll Canna and Amethyst with when they were going to get married or something like that. So
Dude, I put them together like, and it sounds silly or whatever, but like,
yeah, I know you did, and then
I was I was bullshitting with them, and then they literally like I was like, I'm not gonna continue this show until you guys DM each other. And and then they literally started talking and it became a thing. But the funny part was I thought Canna was a chick and I tried to hook up Canna with Chuck. That's the funny part.
I know.
And I didn't know Chuck was married, so it was just like it was a huge mess.
Yeah, turns out. Are you talking about Chuck Boris?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, turns out, dude, Chuck and I lived literally like a half an hour apart from Chuck.
Oh no way, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, John. I do remember a few of your shows. I remember the Canna and Amethyst thing. I also remember towards the end you read that book on the Clintons, and the way you read it was absolutely hilarious. So
the Unlikable, the book about Hillary Clinton, Unlikable or something like that.
yeah, and you kept saying stuff too, like that's you, Eric Nimmer. So
No, I didn't. I don't remember that.
I maybe not on that show. I remember there were a couple of shows where where of course you took swipes at Mr. Black Privilege. So
So Pikerus, I literally this Nimmer dude, like he had a funny personality, but I thought his material wasn't that good. So I thought like, oh, like I'm just gonna fucking rip on him whenever I get a chance. And I tried to stage a roast with him like months ahead of when shit hit the fan. And we started like ripping on each other a little bit. And then like it became a thing like slightly. And then I don't think anybody realized that like it was lighthearted and people got really offended, including him. and then shit
Well,
hit the fan.
well, Nimmer just seems like a easily butthurt leftist.
Yeah.
Well, like, here's the thing, like, I think the guy can take a joke, but I think he got embarrassed because
Yeah,
I was just
he got embarrassed and doubled down.
yeah, like I was manic as fuck at the time, and he didn't have a chance. and 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 I even checked the next day. I like messaged him on Facebook, and I was like, "Yo, you good, man?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then like the next day, he fucking made like a stream for an hour and a half where he just like went off on me, and it was not like in a comical way. It was just like he was pissed.
And boom, that started the whole powder keg. Which, dude, I mean, I'm actually glad that happened. So because the thing that I realize now is Owen would have gone off the rails eventually anyway.
Yeah, true.
I think.
Yeah, you're probably right, Sam. I mean, Owen's the kind of guy that if he feels he's wrong, he's gonna double down and say he's gonna double down and be a victim.
But the whole point of Nimmer was his cover so that he could do his N-word jokes.
Yep.
So if he had a black opener, it was like, oh, he can't be racist if he's got a black opener. And he was his cover because Owen was like, knew Nimmer for over a year when he was asking for comedians, like in the fall of 2017. And then he started that N-word stole my bike, and then all of a sudden Nimmer becomes his opener out of nowhere. So it was clear.
Well, I made the joke when I made the joke I think on Twitter when Owen was making fun of that disabled comedian. I was saying I said something like I was like, "Whoa, Owen should have asked me to be his crippled opener before making crippled jokes." So.
Yeah, I mean, it was an obvious. Even I love how Porcelain called him something like he said like his black buffer, or
the
way that he phrased it was just so like it was simple but brilliant the way he phrased it, and I think like people missed that because that's exactly what it was. And like I say, like don't get me wrong, I think Nimmer had a funny personality. I even gave him that credit fucking when I was roasting him. It's like, dude, I think you have a funny character. I just think your material sucks. Really and truly.
See, you were like you were a lot nicer to Nimmer than I ever really was. So, and I'm not.
I might call him in the next week. So Nimmer, if you're watching, you may get a phone call from me.
I bet Nimmer has his number changed. So
that dude can't afford a new phone. You kidding? He's got the same fucking number. Yeah, buying a new one. He's got that Obama phone. You can't get new numbers when you got an Obama phone.
Obama phone.
Well, wait though. It's the Trump administration. So wouldn't all those Obama phones be like disconnected now? So
yeah, they're Donald Trump. He's got a Trump phone now.
He probably hates it too.
The only ringtone on a Trump phone is very cool.
Yo, Trump was on a roll the other night in Michigan. That shit was hilarious. Oh my gosh, I fucking love that guy. I love that guy.
Well, the thing about Trump is an expert level troll.
Yep.
He is, and he is a stand-up comedian. Like he may be the funniest comedian going right now that's not even trying. Like his shit about the wind, he's talking about wind power like that. That shit was so funny. Hey honey, looks like we're not going to be able to watch our show tonight. The wind isn't blowing.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
God.
that's the thing, dude. Trump is an expert level troll, like expert level. You know,
Some, oh yeah,
basically, Trump trolled his way into the White House.
sure did.
Trump. It's funny because, which is so funny because.
Hey, you got porcelain in the chat. Hey, porcelain.
Hey, poor.
How are you, porcelain? Thank you for
Hey,
using
poor.
the clip of me.
Thank you. You want to I could DM Porcelain the hangout.
Yeah, don't bother him. He's all worked up about Brexit, you know.
Oh yeah, well Brexit. That's a whole nother thing.
Whole nother story. You know what I do when I'm feeling down? I pull up Trump's clip on Entertainment Tonight when he roasts Rosie O'Donnell. When he goes, I would look at her and her fat face. He starts roasting the mess out of her. That is just one of my
Yeah,
favorite clips.
yeah. Like I said, Trump is an expert level troll.
He
Like
is.
like like he's like god tier troll.
Oh yeah. Dude, the debates in 2015 started off with Megyn Kelly asking Trump about how he treats women. You call them dogs, you call them pigs, and he goes,
Nope,
only Rosie O'Donnell.
O'Donnell. Oh,
and the place erupts in laughter. The place erupts in laughter. And then she goes, no, you've said it about other women. He goes, yeah, maybe I did. Even Bill Burr got a kick out of that when he was on Conan. Oh man, I love it.
I just love how one by one he he called the names and then got the labels to stick to like like low energy Jeb.
Oh, yo, what he did to Jeb
Lion's
Bush
head.
might be the greatest like decimation of a candidate. Like he literally took Jeb Bush down to nothing. And then
Oh,
when Jeb tried to attack him and he was like, oh, it's good. You're trying to get your energy up. And then Jeb tried to attack him about, you can't make your jokes up your way to the top. And he goes, Jeb, he goes, you started off next to me. You moved over further and further. Pretty soon you're going to be off the edge of the stage. Like he just shit all over him. Rand Paul. And like, trust me, I like Rand Paul. And he shit all over Rand Paul.
oh yeah.
I never made fun of his looks, and trust me, there's plenty of material there. Like the guy is just you can't mess with him. The guy's
Hey,
just on another level.
hey, Porcelain. I do kind of have to interject here. You're saying that just looking to emotionally manipulate his bears against Owen Benjamin. Porcelain. I don't know if anyone's told you, but I interviewed Ben Shapiro a long time ago before
He certainly did.
before
250,000 views.
before Ben was famous, and
Oh no, he was famous back then. He was on Piers Morgan and all that back then.
well, okay, yeah, well, he was less famous.
Yeah, he wasn't on the level he is now, but he was popular.
Well, he was still with Breitbart. I interviewed Ben like the same year Andrew had died, which yeah, Porcelain. I'll send you the audio. I believe you. If you need someone to interview for part 2 of your Owen doc, I've got a lot to say just about the podcasting sphere in general.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to have a say.
Yeah.
I still want to see that roast. I haven't seen that shit since before it was taken down.
Oh, we should play that. Maybe I don't have the capability on this stream, but maybe on like another stream we can set it up. So,
See,
but
honestly, like my favorite part of that was before Nimmer even came on. I was roasting him for like 10 minutes before he even came on the show.
oh yeah, I watched. I was on that stream too. My favorite part is just you had me in stitches to the point where I was, and I remember where I was. I was in my dining room, sitting in a chair, and you had me laughing so hard I was banging my fist on the table, and you can actually I believe you can actually hear me banging my fist on the table from laughing so
The
hard.
weird part is that, like, we were both making fun of each other. Like, people didn't know how to react when it was going down. They didn't understand, and it was supposed to be fun. But you know what? At the end of the day, I don't know. Everyone deserves dignity. I
Well,
don't know. I'm a
well,
little drunk. I'm not gonna lie.
I would have I don't know what I would have done if Nimmer had come on my stream.
Well, then, like a week or so later, Alan wanted to do a roast with him, and then Nimmer just made fun of Alan, and Alan like didn't say anything back because no one wants to call a spade, no pun intended.
Nimmer kept trying to suck up to me because I wouldn't. So when I joined Canada's Discord, people immediately started like telling me to submit to or to they people immediately started asking me to donate money to Nimmer Special, and I'm like, I have no idea who this guy is.
Hey, Sammy, we should do a 420 anniversary's coming up right around the corner, bro.
It is we should totally do a 420. So
You gotta get Mr. Johnny Carter, not Johnny Carson, Johnny Arcade on.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, John Arcade is a friend of the show, so absolutely.
Look at Porcelain. Owen was literally just protecting his best interest until he couldn't deny it. That's all that was. Owen's always ever done that. He's when he got ousted from Hollywood, he played the victim. When he got banned from Twitter, when he was trying to get banned from Twitter, we all know it, so he could make the conservative rounds. He played the victim. He did he did that crap with the poison gummies. He just protects his best interests, which I understand. You should protect your best interests, but he did this shit with Nimmer until it was undeniable. It was completely undeniable, and people like Shaniqua verified it, and Bayonetta Bob verified it, and poor little Nim. I don't know. I wonder what Nim's doing right now.
There's
stretching a tranny. That's what he's doing right now.
Well, no, Pikers. Going back to Led Zeppelin, one of my favorite songs off of number 3 is Gallows Pole. So maybe that's where maybe Nimmer's listening to that song right now. So I don't know. So
if you were Nimmer, what would you do right now? What would be your next line? Would you? I mean, I don't know what kind of job you get. If you Google Eric Nimmer, not very good stuff pops up. Well, what do you do if you're Eric Nimmer right now? Be honest. Be honest. What do you do?
Really, you want me to be honest?
Yeah.
If I had stolen valor, and
no, not stolen valor. If you were Eric Nimmer, what would you do right now? What would be your next step?
Probably. Okay, well, I would probably. I was gonna go super dark and say jump off a bridge or something.
Oh, damn.
Or some.
Jeez Louise.
I
mean, he could fall back on one of his 3 degrees, like he said, right? He's got law school, the seminary. What else did he have? Oh, he's gonna be a lawyer, priest, a doctor. What a fucking joke! What a joke! Oh shit! I shouldn't do that. That's not right, though. It's not very Christian of me.
Oh my. Well, no. And in all seriousness,
hey, DM Nimmer a link to this hangout. So let's bring him on, so I don't have to say this shit behind his back. Oh, sorry. I'm a little drunk, like I said.
No, no, it's fine. No, I would love to have him on right now too. So, um,
Oh,
but no, honestly, I hope. I mean, I honestly, John, if you want my honest opinion, if I were him right now, I would be going to like a rehabilitation center of like some kind to try and pull my life.
he wasn't a drug addict. You know, rehab for what?
I don't know, like one of those find one of those like find yourself things. I don't know. So
Nimmer, I hope you're listening. We actually are looking out for you right now. We're in a situation. Hopefully, there's going to be a wall being built soon. Maybe you can work on the wall. There's going to be some opportunity for you.
maybe you can end up on the other side of the wall. Who knows? So,
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you do. Everyone deserves redemption. There's always a pathway for redemption for everybody. I don't care who you are.
they
So,
they they do, but that's what I'm saying. I think Nimmer needs. I think Nimmer maybe needs to like find some outlet for that, and I don't know what that is.
look at I fucked up with my business. I fucked this shit up. Like I literally had to shut all my crap down, get a job, start schlucking away. But that's the reality, you know. You gotta just
I I mean I've had to reboot this podcast like two or three times.
that's right. That's
So
right.
of course the Never Trump movement tried to kill this podcast back in 2016, and I survived. So
Nimmer probably Hillary Clinton his devices. Oh goodness. Yeah,
prob,
but he ain't got the money to buy new devices, so I don't think he would do that. I think he just deleted evidence, made his stuff private, and I don't know. What do you do now? You just start marching along. Join. He said apparently he's in the National Guard, right? He could make a career out of being in the National Guard.
maybe I don't know how far he
I
would.
Eric Nimmer, I thank you for your service once again. Whatever service it is, I still thank you for it. Even if it was exaggerated, still thank you for your service. Gotta thank you, vets. Thank you, vets.
Yes, obviously. Here's the thing: if Nimmer had
No, he doesn't follow me on Instagram. No,
no.
he followed me on everything. I do have his cell phone number though. I could call him, and I might do that. I really might do that.
Heck, you and I used to call each other a lot. So
Yeah, no, I like talking on the phone better than like texting and messaging and stuff. That's why I like the Discord and stuff. I don't message too much, but I'll jump right in like a voice chat because I hate messaging. I
no,
can't stand it.
no. So do I. So do I, Canna. So
Canna, what does that mean?
oh, you know who says he can't get on. He says he can't get on voice chat because of or call me on WhatsApp because of his internet connection. So he and I do text. It just takes me a while to respond to him because, like you, I prefer to talk.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm the same way. I prefer to talk to people, but I sometimes I don't like calling people.
Like
You know,
if I'm driving, I can call somebody and drive and pay attention while I'm talking on the phone. Whereas like for me, texting takes all of my attention. I can be on the phone and do other shit. I can't
Yeah,
yeah,
text
same
and
here.
do something
Same here.
else. Yeah.
I can't text and do other things. Like all my attention is on the texting, but
yeah, same thing.
if I'm on a voice chat in Discord or like on the phone, I can do other things.
So,
Oh, Nimmer, you came and you made us all simmer down, and now you need to buy dinner. Sorry.
There will be no Barry Manilow here.
Oh, you know what? I did a Barry Manilow parody in my day.
I
Chuck would like some of my parodies. I've done some parodies.
To quote George Carlin, I hope Barry Manilow gets a boil on his ass.
Yeah.
Carlin.
George Carlin dead. Is Barry Manilow dead? I don't even know. Probably shouldn't say that unless I know.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, George Carlin dead. And been shitting on God his whole career. Now what? Now he's gonna go face God and be like, "Oh, I was just joking."
No, God has a sense of humor, man.
He does. He made giraffes, bro. I had a priest used to say, "If you don't think God has a sense of humor, just look at a giraffe."
Or look at I was gonna say something. I'm not gonna say it now.
No, but just like let's keep it PG. You know what I mean? Like a giraffe. Like literally, instead of putting some trees where an animal could reach the trees, he's like, I'm gonna make this animal's neck super long to eat off the trees. Like that's crazy. Like that is so funny. Like a giraffe is hilarious.
Look at if you want to know God's sense of humor, look at a picture of a manatee. And yes, I'm saying that because we have them here in Florida, but manatees are basically like the animal version of potatoes. They look like they look like freaking potatoes. It's weird.
Yep. They do look like potatoes. That's not even a joke. They do look like potatoes.
Yeah.
So I
don't know.
Yeah, I mean God is weird. So
I think Jesus used to just mess with people, don't you?
Oh yeah, he did.
Probably. So.
Like he was like, while these dudes sleeping on this boat, I'm about to just walk out on this water and mess with them real good. Like, what was he doing? Why couldn't he just calm the seas? Why did he have to go walk out on the water to calm the seas? He couldn't just sit in the boat and do it. No, he wanted to mess with them. Be like, yo, chilling.
Yo,
he was just standing there going, "Hey guys, look at this."
Hey y'all, watch this. Not only was he walking on water, I think he was moonwalking on water too.
Well, and also we also know that Jesus got everyone totes drunk at that one wedding party. So
he turned water into wine, after like 7 days of balling out. But his mother did pressure him. He didn't want to do it, and Mary was like, "Jesus, please," and he's like, "All right."
Wine.
The best wine you've ever had in your life.
Probably.
Then he was like, "Enjoy," and he conjured wine from the future.
Dog, I wish I could have some Jesus wine.
Jesus,
it's got to be the bomb.
Jesus wine
gives you clarity and a buzz at the same time. Honor your mother. That's right. Listen, it's true.
How come nobody has ever marketed like a church wine called Jesus wine?
Oh God! I bet someone has tried in the past. I would not doubt that.
Or just call like the wedding at Cana or something like that. Another Cana. Oh, we got Cana. We got wedding at Cana.
Do you think? Do you think Jesus used cannabis?
I don't think he needed to use anything because the dude was already on a 10 all day and all night. You know what I mean? He didn't need to. But I don't think he would have a problem with other people smoking a little bud. Like God made it, right? So it's there for a reason. Made tobacco, made marijuana, all that stuff. What was it supposed to be for? I don't know. Medicinal use? I don't know. But
yeah, I read something somewhere that they think that Jesus used cannabis oil as anointing oil.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very possible.
Oh
So
man. Well, there's a good one about Ralphie May had a great rest in peace. Ralphie May had a great bit about
Oh yeah,
Jesus
rest in peace, Ralphie May.
where he does the. He's like, you don't think Jesus smoked a little bud? He's like, first he was a carpenter, dressed like a hippie, and he's going through his whole thing, right? And he's like, if I was Jesus, I would cross promote. I'd make my little weed into Christmas trees. Fucking cross promote. And then he goes deeper and he goes like, I got the cure for your blindness.
I got the cure for your blindness.
well,
Right?
as I've always pointed out, there is like a 10-year gap in the Bible story where like we see Jesus like growing up as a kid, and then next we pick up like Jesus is in his 30s. So
Right. Like that's probably for me as a Christian, that bothers me. Like, why
no,
don't we know about any of his life until he was a grown man? Like, was he I think he was traveling and learning from all kinds of stuff, but because he was all human too, but I don't know. But the whole point is like, why don't we know anything about him other than when he was 12 and he was in the synagogue to be with his father and he was talking with all the priests and like asking them all kinds of questions. So how come we don't know anything else? That bothers me.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
No
bothers me.
record. He never told anybody. Like I don't like that. I want to know
See,
more.
see, my mom is of the belief that Jesus had a family.
Like kids? You talking about a
Yeah.
family kids?
Yes, my mom is of that belief that she thinks Jesus had a family.
Like the, there's nothing wrong with having a family, so I don't see how that would even be sinful. You know what I mean? Like who knows? I don't know.
yeah. I think if that were the case, that would change a lot, and I know at least the Catholic doctrine. So
Well, my aunt, who's like, she's been Catholic her whole life. She even said to me, she was like, he defended Mary Magdalene or whoever it was. We assume it's Mary Magdalene, could be anybody, but when whoever throw the first stone, he without sin cast first stone. He defended her, that woman, like someone you care about. You know what I mean?
hmm
And she said that to me, and it really resonated with me. Like I was really surprised to hear her say that. Like, look, he defended her like someone he cared about.
which
They
uh,
were
whi- which
well,
just
well, well, well. They were friends. They were best friends. So why wouldn't he defend her?
well, that also just goes to show that Owen Benjamin is not Jesus like he claims to be. So
But I mean, it's literally, it's so interesting. Like whether people believe in Jesus or not, like our year, it's 2019, is based off of Jesus. Whether you believe in him or not, like the whole world identifies as 2019, knowing damn well that people have been around for a lot longer than that many years. So like that's kind of crazy. Think, Muslims, Chinese, Buddhists, Hindus, they all know it's 2019, even though Chinese, they got their own New Year's or whatever, but like it's based on him. That's kind of crazy. Just that alone.
yeah, Louis C.K. actually in his last special has a whole bit about that, about how Christians we want the calendar, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
like like it is 2019. So
like we say BC. And people say and I know now they're saying like before Common Era and all BCE, but like that's based on Christ too. Whether people believe it or not, when they say something's 200 BC, like it's literally based on people on a man that a lot of people don't even believe in. Like that's crazy to think that
Yeah, yeah.
changed human history.
It means before Christ.
Right.
yeah,
It's before Christ, and now it's like before the Common Era, and it's like, no, it's before Christ. Get it right, fucko.
But what's crazy is even though they say common era, everybody knows why they say that. It's based on one man and it changed the course of human history. Like, that's crazy. That's just unbelievable in a good way, like unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I don't personally when it comes to like I went back to Christianity. I floated around. I was an atheist. I was a Satanist. I floated around. I went back to Christianity because I let Jesus into my heart. Um, I just I just think it's weird. It's weird that a lot of Christians have this thing where they have to like love Jewish people. I don't like they love Jews. I don't get it.
Well, you're supposed to love everybody, right?
Yeah, but in the eyes of in the I discussed this with my mom the other day, and I was like, yeah, but in the eyes of Judaism, Jesus is an apostate.
I don't know about that. Like, a lot of Jews believe Jesus was a good man. A lot of Jews believe that.
Well,
They just
yeah,
don't believe he was the son of God.
yeah, yes, yes, it's true. They a lot of them, and there is sects of
Jewish
Judaism,
Christians. Right.
Judaism that believe that Jesus is the Messiah.
Well, the original Christians were Jews, So it's like, of course there
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
there's going to be sects of that, but
I I don't know. It was more along the lines of like technically. I think it was more like technically, if you think about it, Jesus was technically an apostate because he kind of went against the he was a rebel, you know.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, Jesus was the perfect Jew, and I think that whether they believe he was the son of God or not, he lived the perfect Jewish life, and that
So
I
wait,
think that was a lot of people.
Jesus was a Jew banned.
Well, wait a minute. Here's another thing. I heard this recently. Please tell me if I'm wrong. That nowhere in the Old Testament does it say anybody's a Jew. They say Israelite and Hebrew, and nobody ever says Jew. Is that true?
I think that is true from what I, yeah, from what I.
They're Israelites. That's what the black Israelites always talk about. They go, "I'm not a Jew. I'm an Israelite. I'm a black Hebrew. It's my birthright and all that." They go on about that. Not to go off on a tangent, but it
Yeah,
was something. They're Israelites. No, how come you never hear a Jew saying that they're Israelites? They're from Abraham and all that. That's what I'd be saying. I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm from Abraham, bitch. My 12 tribes." Is it from? Well, you got Judah, but they still. I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I'm not too
Yeah,
well
Jesus
versed.
was not a Jew. He was of the line of Abraham and David. He was an Israelite.
right.
But we say you all constantly hear he was a Jew because we just associate Israelite with Jew. But there's tons of Jew. Like, Jew is a ton of different things, but an Israelite is specific.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, he.
Oh,
See,
Yeah,
this is why, Sam, this is why my show, like, it started political when I was doing it last year. And it ended up being more biblical by the end because for me, it's way more interesting. After you talk about abortion and Second Amendment and you go over the issues, unless you're covering the news, which I get, like, there's a need to cover the news. Like, the Bible's just way more interesting, whether you believe it or not. There's history there that's just far more interesting,
yeah,
far more lessons to learn, like unbelievable stuff.
do 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 do.
yeah.
That
My show kind of started
truck.
out as political and has just kind of become conversational now, like this. So,
Yeah.
Jesus said he came for the Jew first, then everyone else. Where did he say that, Annabelle? He came for the Jew first. I don't know where he said. I mean, you might be right. I just don't know. Who
yeah,
knows? Might be true.
Christianity. But the thing about that is that at one point Christianity was illegal.
Sure was. Yeah, Constantine. Without Constantine, none of us might be Christians.
No,
he legalized it, and
he legalized Christianity. He made it okay to be a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Or else it was like an underground thing. But what's crazy about Christians is that like back then, like people were dying for their beliefs without fighting back. And you don't see that in anything. Maybe monks do that. I don't know, but I think that's what made it so powerful. It's like these guys were torturing them, we're killing them, and they're not fighting back based on a belief. That's got to catch on. Got to catch on. Romans 1:16. All right, I got to pull this up. I got my other device. Oh, Paul's super interesting. Paul even has a writing where he says this is not from God. Like I don't know where he says that, but he says that in one of his writings, which is crazy that it's in the Bible and he says this is not from God.
Galatians 3:28 is what Alyssa's saying. So
I got Romans 1:16. Where do you see Galatians?
That's what Alyssa just said in the chat.
Oh, it just came in. Yeah. That's where Paul says that. See, I mean, Sam, I'm sorry. I don't mean to derail your show. We're doing Bible verses. I know it's not your.
No, it's fine.
Isn't it super interesting though? Like,
yeah, it is. So
it really
Romans.
is.
Right.
I'm always fascinated by the quips and stuff and the stuff in the Bible, like, oh, here's a passage for what you're going through right now. Oh, okay, right. Cool.
All right, Annabelle, here's your Romans 1:16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. But that's from Paul. Like, that's Paul saying that. That's not Jesus. I mean, that's maybe Jesus saying that's from Paul. All right, let me go Galatians 3:28. I love this. All right, Galatians 3:28. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Christ Jesus. So who wrote Galatians? Is that Paul also? Paul to the Galatians? Is that Paul's letter? I feel like Paul has got so many writings in the New Testament. Mm-hmm. And he never even met Jesus.
Yeah, that's
well. The thing about the Bible is the thing about the New Testament. It's basically an anthology. It's a collection of writings and musings.
Yeah.
Well, what's crazy, John, the Gospel of John, and his revelations were written way after. We studied that at church one day. The stuff that he wrote in the Gospels, way after Matthew, Mark, and Luke came out. That's why his is so much different too. I mean, a lot of it's the same, but he's got the wedding of Cana. He's got a lot of different things, and some believe John is. Wait a minute. Some believe John is Jesus's brother.
No,
Some believe Andrew and John are Jesus's brothers. I'm pretty sure. Please listen. No, she on top of this. Some believe they're actually his brothers because it says brother, but then in Catholicism they'll say brothers used for many different things. But in this Lutheran church that I'm in now, they'll say no, it's actually his brother because they use other words all the time. Don't diss Paul. He spread Christian. I'm not dissing Paul. I'm just saying he ain't he never met him, and he said stuff like, "This isn't from." I gotta find where that is. He said, "This isn't from God." He had half brothers from Joseph or from Mary.
Joseph, I think, probably.
Yeah, I'm also of the belief that Jesus had siblings. My mom laid it out for me, and she was like, "Yeah, because of course Jesus and Mary had, Joseph and Mary had other children. It was expected of them."
Mary and Joseph. Would it?
Yeah,
Would it? Are Andrew and John, are those the other brothers that we're talking about? I think they are. Make sure your church is confessional Lutheran. They say non-denominational and they say Lutheran. I don't know. I just don't know what that means. There's too many sects.
Yeah.
I'm a Methodist.
So what's the difference between a Methodist, a Baptist? Like what's the Methodist main difference?
Well, um, yeah, it's been a while since I looked it up. Hold on. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Mormons, they're Christians too. They just think Jesus set up camp in Missouri,
Well,
right? Am I way off, or does that sum it up pretty good?
well, Mormonism is a cult.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that because they could say people could say Christianity's a cult. The Mormons believe Jesus came to the United States before it was the United States and set up camp in Missouri. We believe he walked on water, right? So let's not make fun of the Mormons.
No, 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 I'm not making fun of Mormons. I'm saying that like ex-Mormons I know have said that's well,
It means that your church is not
Okay, here
soggy, that you're
here
being
we
taught
here we
scripture.
go. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to read this. Methodism, also known as the Methodist movement, is a group of historically related denominations of Protestant Christianity which derive their inspiration from the life and teachings of John Wesley, George Whitefield, and John's brother Charles Wesley.
not
They,
not related, by the way. The Whitfield.
Whitefield, not Whitfield.
Okay.
Yeah. Check
There are
out
also significant early
issues.
leaders in the movement. It originated as a revival movement within the 18th century Church of England and became a separate denomination after Wesley's death. The movement spread throughout the British Empire, the United States, and beyond because of vigorous missionary work, today claiming approximately 80 million adherents worldwide. Wesley's theology focused on sanctification and the effect of faith on the character of a Christian. Distinguishing Methodist doctrines include the new birth, an assurance of salvation, imparted righteousness, the possibility of perfection in love, the works of piety, and the primacy of Scripture. Most Methodists teach that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, died for all of humanity and that salvation is available for all. In theology, this view is known as Arminianism. This teaching rejects the Calvinist position that God has preordained the salvation of a select group of people. However, Whitefield and several other early leaders of the movement were considered Calvinistic Methodists and held to the Calvinist position. Methodism emphasizes charity and support for the sick, the poor, and the afflicted through the works of mercy. These ideals are put into practice by the establishment of hospitals, orphanages, soup kitchens, and schools to follow Christ's command to spread the gospel and serve all people.
Interesting.
Yeah, the movement, there's more. The movement has a wide variety of forms of worship, ranging from high church to low church in liturgical usage. Denominations that descend from the British Methodist tradition are generally less ritualistic, while American Methodism is more so. The United Methodist Church, in particular, that's what I am, I'm a United Methodist, Methodism is known for its rich musical tradition, and Charles Wesley was instrumental in writing much of the hymnody of Methodist Church. Early Methodists were drawn from all levels of society, including the aristocracy, but the Methodist preachers took the message to laborers and criminals who tended to be left outside organized religion at that time. In Britain, the Methodist Church had a major effect in the early decades of the developing working class, 1760 to 1820. In the United States, it became the religion of many slaves who later formed black churches in the Methodist tradition. Now, here we go into the theology of Methodism. Methodist churches do not adhere to a definitive statement or confession of belief, unlike the Westminster Confession used by Reformed churches. Many Methodist bodies, such as the African Methodist Episcopal Church and the United Methodist Church, base their doctrinal standards on Wesley's Articles of Religion, an abridgment of the 39 Articles of the Church of England that excised its Calvinistic features. Some Methodist denominations also publish catechisms, which concisely summarize Christian doctrine. Methodists generally accept the Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed as declarations of shared Christian faith.
Nicene.
All right.
Nicene Creed.
Yeah. Methodism also affirms the traditional Christian belief in the triune Godhead, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, as well as the Orthodox understanding of its consubstantial humanity and divinity of Jesus Christ. Methodism emphasizes doctrines that indicate the power of the Holy Spirit to strengthen the faith of believers and to transform their personal lives. Methodism is broadly evangelical in doctrine and is characterized by Wesleyan Arminian theology. John Wesley is studied by Methodists for his interpretation of church practice and doctrine. At its heart, the theology of John Wesley stressed the life of Christian holiness, to love God with all one's heart, mind, its soul, and strength, and to love one's neighbor as oneself. One popular expression of Methodist doctrine is in the hymns of Charles Wesley. Since enthusiastic congregational singing was part of the early evangelical movement, Wesleyan theology took root and spread through this channel. Salvation. Wesleyan Methodists identify with the Arminian concept of free will as opposed to the theological determinism of absolute predestination. Methodism teaches that salvation is initiated when one chooses to respond to God, who draws the individual near to him. The Wesleyan doctrine of prevenient grace, thus teaching synergism. Methodists interpret Scripture as teaching that the saving work of Jesus Christ is for all people, unlimited atonement, but effective only to those who respond and believe. In accordance with the Reformation principles of sola gratia, grace alone, and sola fide, faith alone, John Wesley taught 4 key points fundamental to Methodism. A person is free not only to reject salvation, but also to accept it by an act of free will. All people who are obedient to the gospel according to the measure of knowledge given them will be saved. The Holy Spirit assures a Christian of their salvation directly through an inner experience. 4. Christians in this life are capable of Christian perfection and are commanded by God to pursue it. After the first work of grace, the new birth, Methodist soteriology emphasizes the importance of the pursuit of holiness and salvation, a concept best summarized in a quote by Methodist evangelist Phoebe Palmer, who stated that justification would have ended with me had I refused to be holy. Thus, for Methodists, true faith cannot subsist without works. Methodism, inclusive of the holiness movement, thus teaches that justification is made conditional on obedience and progress in sanctification, emphasizing a deep reliance upon Christ and not only in coming to faith, but in remaining in the faith. John Wesley taught that the keeping of the moral law contained in the 10 Commandments, as well as engaging in the works of piety and the works of mercy, were indispensable for our sanctification.
So Methodists are similar to Catholics then, because they believe it's not faith alone, it's faith and works.
Yeah, there's some overlap between Catholicism and Methodism, but Methodism is was
I
born
mean,
out of
there's gonna be overlap with the Catholicism and anything because that was the church, and then you got the Eastern Rite Roman Catholic, and then Martin Luther had his 95 thesis and changed it up, and things just start splitting. Got Church of England split because he couldn't get an annul. King Henry XV couldn't get an annulment, and just things just kept taking off from there.
yeah. But yeah, I was raised a Methodist, so reading that, I forgot all that. You know,
Interesting.
I forgot all that.
Sure, bro. Yeah, no, that's how it goes. My eyes are getting heavy, you peeps. You too, Joshua. Have a good night. I'm wide awake now. I came in buzzed, and now I've had a few glasses of water. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling awake.
Yeah, like I went back to Methodism because it just felt right.
That's good. Hey, man, I feel like anything where you spend more time learning about Christ is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. But I do agree with Annabelle too that works based religion can be dangerous. So
I feel like, but if you truly have faith, then the works come naturally. You know.
true, yeah, there's that too, and that's what we've
But
talked about.
but I understand the point where it's like, yeah, you can't earn your way. Like nobody's good enough. Nobody's good enough. And no confession right before you die is gonna just eradicate all the sin you've done. Nobody's good
Yeah,
enough. So
No,
that's where I like the by faith alone because
no,
it's like,
no.
yeah, if you
Well,
truly believe, that's what's gonna make the difference. Doesn't mean you can. I don't know. I'm not God, so I'm not even going on that rabbit hole.
I I would say that the whole deathbed thing, honestly, and I don't mean to get morbid here. I would say that is more like for making amends with your children or your relatives here on Earth.
Look, I
So
don't think it's a bad thing. Like, I feel like if you really make amends for your life on your deathbed, that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong.
right, no, I totally get what you're
You
saying.
better believe, though. That's my point. Is like, if you don't have faith, that's your foundation.
Hmm.
Faith foundation. Look at this. We've been talking about the Bible for how long now? An hour?
Probably.
You
This is
know?
this is going to be like another 5 hour podcast that iTunes is going to be like you need to break this up into segments because we can't handle this.
That's
So
awesome. That's so cool. That's just so. And I'm telling you, whether people believe or not, people still find different things interesting. And that was like what I was trying to, when I got to the core of my old show, it was like, how do I make this stuff relatable? Because I don't understand it. Can I just try to make sense of it? And hopefully the spirit guides me. And that
yeah,
literally was like, that's where I was trying to go with it. And then, but what's funny, like I say, I really did try, but nobody remembers any of that. They remember the Ninja Warrior stuff and the rapping there, all the bull crap. But
no one really remembers any of my news shows either. Like everyone still remembers that one story that I told. I think it was like story time with Savage Sam or something where I talked about those two volleyball players, and one of them was like
sure,
was you know she wanted to hook up with me, but then I found out that she only did that because her ex boyfriend at the time was like a not a drug lord, but was working for one of the cartels, allegedly. So
but who remembers that's the whole thing about news. Like I watch Shapiro like a couple times a week just to keep up with some news, and I don't remember anything he says about the news, because it's here today, gone tomorrow. But
Yeah.
like stuff like this like resonates. It really, really does.
Well, no, and
Yeah,
just
yeah, man. My ex girlfriend was raised in a really like super religious household.
Yeah.
She completely rejected it completely.
yeah. Well, and also, I mean, just having conversations with people like we've just we've covered everything on the stream. I mean, we've started off talking about classic rock and you know
Nim
music and
tab.
stand-up comedy, and then of course we moved on to the Ellen stuff, which I mean, honestly, people are like, when are you going to stop covering Owen on this channel? And I'm like, well, when you people stop tuning in, because
Yeah, 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 exactly. But
I'll,
yeah, man. Like I was saying, my ex girlfriend like completely rejected it. I think she's like some sort of pagan now.
So what
yeah,
what does she believe?
Oh, oh, it would take me like 3 hours to explain it.
Well, just basically, you said pagan, so like what? Like Capricorn, Cancer, like what's that? Astronomy kind of stuff? Like what pagan stuff are we talking?
No, she like she believes that Satan's the good guy.
Oh jeez.
ooh, yeah,
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah,
I mean
I
like
I don't even I don't even care anymore. I don't even give a shit.
I don't how do you arrive to that point?
Oh, I I I I don't know, dude. Like she's also like mentally ill, so
Yeah, I think we're all a little mentally ill.
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
I think we are too. I also think that, and we've been talking about this in our Bible study too. Sometimes sometimes growing up in super, religious families, and I'm not saying that every religious family is like this, but in certain cases, in my experience, there have been I've I've seen kids from like super religious families that I grew up with, completely turn away
Sure, I agree.
from it because they got it basically force fed to
Right.
them, and see that's the other thing G- is Jesus is something that you have to accept for yourself. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter how religious your family is, if you went to like a religious school or anything like that, until the individual accepts Christ for themselves.
Dude, I totally agree with that. Like all my friends, like their parents like force them to go to mass every Sunday and all that. And I went to Catholic schools, but my parents never went to church. And so because of that, I thirsted for it in my teenage years. You know what I mean? Like seeing my friends go through it, and all, I thirsted for it. And I think that that's why I I still thirst for it today because
Yeah,
I
like
wasn't
my
bombarded as a child. But I was
we
still
used
in Catholic school, so I got some
we used to
foundation.
go
Right.
we used to go to church. My mom would take me to church every Sunday, and then after a while, wasn't really. My parents aren't really super religious, but we went to church fairly regularly, and then after a while we stopped going, and it always like disappointed me because I really liked going to church and listening to sermons.
Yeah.
I I had an interesting I've kind of had an interesting path. I I
Oh,
wasn't
excuse me.
really, I wouldn't say I was a raised Christian, but I came to know Christ when I was a kid. And then kind of around my teenage years or in high school. Uh, I mean, I wouldn't really say I lost faith, but my faith kind of went on the back burner for a
Sure.
bit because of And it was because my father and I, my biological father and I, he and I, my parents are divorced, and my father and I have always kind of had a tough relationship. I won't go into details, but it hasn't always been the best, to say the least. And when I
Didn't
when I and when I was a teenager, my dad and I really had on the outs, and I would always pray um, that God would somehow fix our relationship, and things just kind of continued to get worse. So I was just kind of like, oh well, God must be busy. So I mean, I got, like I said, I kind of put my faith on the back burner. Well, then w- after I moved here to Florida, one of my best friends, who I've known since kindergarten, actually, uh, called me out of the blue one day, and he and I hadn't talked for years at that point, since high school. But he called me out of the blue one day and told me that that he had accepted Jesus as his savior, and his story was so fascinating. It kind of reignited my spark a bit too.
Interesting.
So
I I what led me back to Jesus was the fact that everything that my ex girlfriend said to me, like everything, it just turned me completely off, and
yeah.
it made me reevaluate everything.
So
And
Well, I'll tell you, Sam. You were talking about, like things you'd pray for, and if there's anything I've learned about God is that like His plan is just so farther ahead than what a human can,
can fathom, yes.
understand. Yeah,
yeah,
so like if you pray for something, it's because it affects you. But there might be a reason why things don't get fixed the way that they are because maybe there's a bigger lesson down the road
Oh,
that
oh
you're not even aware of yet. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
like
oh yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you
So
just today, I'll give you a silly, stupid example. I was getting real frustrated with some software today. Really frustrated. And I spent
Come on,
like
dog.
way too much time
Come on.
on nothing. And by the end of it,
Go in.
I was I
Treat.
was mad.
Want
What's
treat?
that?
oh, Pikers is talking to his dog.
Yeah, I'm
And,
trying to get
and
my dog in.
and by
Treat.
the end,
Come on.
I was like super mad
Come on.
about how much time I wasted. And then
Come
when
in. Come
like
on.
day was done and I was looking back, I was thinking, I was like, oh, like I just learned like four new things that I wouldn't have known if everything worked perfectly. So I was
Right.
just like, wow, like, oh, maybe I struggled with all this bull crap because I just learned a bunch of stuff that I could now apply to my next thing that I wouldn't even have come across. So that's kind of how I see things as like, yeah, like there's as frustrating as it might be in the present, like that end goal is just so much more valuable and important down the road that you can't plan for. You really can't.
Well, and I mean, the good news is my father and I, we kind of have patched things up. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was.
It's good.
And that's the whole other thing is that I've learned too is God does fix everything in time, but it might not be in the way you expected, you know, things to be fixed, and it might not be in the time frame that you desire either. So,
You know.
Yeah. Like I said, uh, the things the things my ex was talking about just completely completely like turned turned me off. Like I couldn't I couldn't stand her going on about how Satan was the good guy anymore.
Wow, that's like that takes a lot to arrive to that point, and I give that person credit for being that honest with you because that's I mean people can think that, but to say that That's, I mean, that's crazy, but that's, at least it's honest. But what makes somebody actually come to that conclusion?
I have no idea.
Abuse maybe or something. I mean, that's like
I mean,
that.
we know Lucifer was like, you know, the second in command, was the top angel and all that, and he revolted, right? Because he was jealous of God, which is so interesting. Like how an angel has the ability to be jealous is,
Well, I never interpreted it as, and when I was younger, I always thought that Lucifer hadn't where am I trying to go with this? Hadn't uh thought he was better than God. I always heard it as that he rejected, that he um thought, um because God wanted the angels to like love humanity and stuff, and I always heard that he had rejected that and said, no, fuck you. Um, they're beneath me.
well, the humans were beneath him, so he felt jealous of the like
Human
God's attention with the humans.
humans. Yes, that's what. That's
Interesting.
what.
Well, that's
That's what.
interesting.
That's what I had. That's what my other ex. We used to talk about that um quite a bit. Um, yeah. Uh, you know, like both things could be true. Who knows? That he was jealous of God's attention with humans, and he said, he
So he corrupted the humans to bring them down, which
and
is what, you know, people do when they feel jealous. They try to bring you down to
down.
their level.
Exactly. I mean, that interpretation, I I don't reject that for the most part because it sounds completely like that's part of it. You know what I mean? That's
Sure.
part of it. That's probably part of it.
But
Um,
what I'm saying is that then Lucifer had human nature within him, where I thought, and I just maybe my ignorance, I thought angels didn't have the free will that humans had to have that human nature within them.
well, I think Lucifer was different than all the other angels.
Like,
Ah,
like he was a hybrid almost, like he had the ability, because we think of the archangels with what, Michael and Gabriel, and yeah, you can't, like, I've never thought of them as ever being able to have a thought that would be against God. So why was Lucifer able to have a thought that was against God? So you think it was because he was kind of human himself?
To a point. I think he it's kind of hard. I haven't discussed this in a long time. It's hard for me to remember what exactly
That's why
I
he
was.
fell. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's why he fell because he for some reason he had a spark of humanity in him. You
that
know.
may that makes sense. So,
No, I'm not
Yeah.
saying like angels are robots, but I've always thought of angels as not having the same free will that a human has.
That.
More it's like
Yeah.
they're like soldiers of God, or I mean, technically angels, but like that they take direct orders and they carry out direct orders. You know,
Yeah.
where
But why
we have this.
why exactly? But it also comes back to the whole thing is that why exactly did Lucifer? How was he able to rebel?
Right. Right. I mean, we know he had pride. You know, it's just so interesting. It's so interesting, and I love these topics because, and you know what I start with is like when people don't believe in, and not just Christianity but any kind of religion, I kind of start with consciousness, and it's been a mantra that I've really honed in on, and I talk about humanity being so vastly different from every other creature, in that we create and develop upon ideas where every other creature on earth literally has been doing the same thing for a lot longer than we've been here. So
Yep.
I try to talk about consciousness and say, like, why is a bird still making nests? They've been making nests for who knows how long. You know,
Yeah,
they've never made anything else besides a nest. Where
but
since we've made fire, we've made a million things.
yeah, exactly. It's like that was the whole point I was getting at with the loose with
But so, Lissa, you said it's not free will. He disobeyed an order, but don't you need free will in order to
free will
disobey?
to disobey an order. Yeah, yes. That's what I'm getting at. How was Lucifer able to rebel?
Right.
I brought that up to a friend of mine who was like going to school to be a pastor,
Yeah.
and he looked at me and went, "Wow, I never thought of it like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like popped in it popped into my head one day," and I'm like, "Wait, okay, so if angels had were supposed to be taking direct orders from God with no questions asked, how did Lucifer rebel?" And it like oh, I was also really fucking stoned at the time, but that's beside the point.
Oh, look at listen. This is really good. Look what she said. She said everything God created, He did so for His own glory. Think of the eons He would have been alone with just the angels if they had no animation, maybe animated differences. What would be their purpose? Right, because right, we read Genesis in 7 days, but that's like those 7 days could be millions or billions of years. Who
Well,
knows how
well,
long?
yeah, that's what that's
So
what
what?
that's
Right.
what I've
So like,
always said.
and like, I don't know where in the Bible where it talks about when Lucifer rebelled, but that's clearly before Adam and Eve. But we don't. It's not chronological in Genesis. Like there's so much that we miss. But right, yeah. So what was going on before God created man? Like he wasn't satisfied. That's what's crazy is that like God created the earth and everything wasn't satisfied. So he created man, and then he was pleased after that, and then he saw man wasn't satisfied, and here's what we talked about in church one time, which is really interesting. He said, man, and this is before he called him Adam, man was with God and it wasn't enough. Is that not unbelievable? And God created woman for man because then that was enough. So like being in God's presence, man and God wasn't enough. It- oh, I got to pull out a Bible now and read this because how could you imagine like that almost
See,
sounds it almost sounds blasphemous to say to have God was not enough and that he needed to make woman for the man.
yeah, yeah, it is. But I love discussions like this.
Amen.
I
Yeah,
love it.
amen.
It's one of those things like you could just start going through like what you know and everything about it, and then you're like, somebody brings up something like I just brought up what popped into my head a long time ago after smoking a fuck ton of weed. I was like really high. I was laying on my bed and I was like listening to like um forget what I was listening to. I think I was listening to I was like I had headphones on. I was listening to I think I was listening to like some classic rock or something, and I was just like lying there, and it's like this just like popped into my head, and I was like, whoa, holy shit, that was wild. And then I discussed it with like a couple of friends of mine, and they were like, wow, I never thought of it like that. And I'm like, me neither. Until like the other night.
Right.
So it just it was one of those things that was just like, you know, it's an interesting thought.
So, I'm reading Genesis right now, trying to see where. When does he name him Adam? Like I got two different Bibles, and one they call him man for a while, and then all of a sudden they just start saying Adam. I'm reading the King James version where they're talking about the whole land of Ethiopia. I don't remember any of this in my other Bible. Super duper lost now. Check the chat, see if.
Hey man, it differs between the different versions of the Bible, man.
I know.
It differs.
Yeah, I know it does, and that's frustrating. How did they all have one book and they all have different versions of it? And the Catholics, they got way more books in their Bible than the King James version. It's a lot less.
Mhm.
Like what is it? The Book of Enoch.
There's Enoch. There's I don't even remember the other ones. The Wisdom of Solomon, or there's a bunch. There's like a bunch that are apparently in the Talmud, but not the Torah or something. And I don't know why King James removed it. Because some people say like the Catholics added it, but the Catholics had the original Bible. So that tells me that if you took their Bible, you removed the books. And some say that they removed the books because it talks about things like not not limbo. What's the other not limbo, but if you're some believe that if you die you go to not heaven or hell, but purgatory.
Purgatory.
Yeah. So some believe that so apparently in some scriptures in there it could be alluded to purgatory, and some say that they removed those books because they didn't want to refer to purgatory. I've heard that. I mean, I've really tried to research it, and I can't. I'd like to talk to somebody that's a scholar that understands the difference, but everyone has an angle, and so like I could talk to a Catholic priest, and they would say we have the books, and they took them out, and I could talk to another Christian that would say a Christian pastor that would say no, the Catholics have added books. So like it's part of the struggle, and it's
Really is. It's like um but yeah, like so I like after that whole thing and after my ex left me for another man, I don't want anything to do with her anymore. I don't need that. I don't need that shit in my life. I don't need her like
when did she leave you?
uh 2017.
Oh wow.
Did you
So,
guys live together and everything?
No, we were together for like 10 years.
Oh wow, you guys were
wow.
together for 10 years.
Mhm.
That's a long time. How come you guys didn't get married or any of
mm, I have no idea. I don't know.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing you didn't. So wait. Uh,
We still every once in a while we still talk to each other, but it's Just whatever now.
Not to change topics too much, but I think I've asked you this maybe once before, but I keep forgetting, Pikeris. How'd you find how'd you find Nightwave and Owen and
Oh,
us and yeah.
RTC. I was on YouTube one day, and I was just it showed up in my recommended feed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It showed up in my recommended feed one day, and I'm like, oh shit, I like this show. What's this? And then I found their link to their Twitch channel because they when I found them they were under a live streaming ban. So I found them on Twitch and I watched them on Twitch for like a couple months, and then they got back on
YouTube.
YouTube, and I started watching them on YouTube, and like I changed my whole profile pic and my name on YouTube because I wanted to like get away from the freaking stupid name I had when I first created my YouTube account.
Yeah. How long ago was that, Pipers?
2006.
No, I mean that you were following ROTC and all that.
Oh, it's been about a year, a little over a year.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I only started following because I heard they were covering Owen when I guess the moon shit started, and then I heard Porcelain was making that documentary.
same. Yeah, another YouTuber. I don't really. I mean, he knows my work better than I know his work. But, a gentleman by the name of Jesse Spots has also been covering Owen. I don't know much about. I mean, I've talked to Jesse and on Twitter, and he seems like a good guy. I've watched part of his streams. As I understand right now, he actually can't do streams, but a lot of people from his channel have subscribed. So thank you guys for that. If you're watching the past,
Yep.
present, future hour.
You got 253 subs there, Sammy. That's good.
Yeah, I'm. Well, it's just like you said, you John, to me. I think this time last year, actually, you said in a few years, my show's gonna blow up, blow up. So
Yep, I think you have the consistency, and consistency always wins, man. Like if you are just consistent and persistent and continuing, it always wins. I, you guys ever seen the Founder with where Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc about the
yeah,
cop?
yeah. Actually, I did.
I didn't really like how they painted Ray Kroc in a negative light in the movie, but I love the message of persistence always wins,
Yep.
and so true.
Well, and that's what I'm saying about the whole unbearable is like I don't want to get on my high horse, but I mean a lot of the unbearables have been saying that they're gonna destroy my channel and that I'm only gonna ride this wave for so long, which in terms of the own thing, maybe. But
Uh,
let me
you're
tell you,
you're you're way too consistent. There's no way you'll never fade away like that, dude. You're too
right.
consistent.
Well, what I was gonna say too is I used to be I used to be like pretty, I don't know, I guess neoconservative would be the term, I guess, when I first started out. And then
What does neoconservative actually mean? Because I hear that term thrown around a lot.
I don't I don't know like the dictionary term, but like they're very pro military, industrial complex, very pro war. Yeah, hey Island, thanks for joining the
Yeah.
chat. Yeah, I mean, I know that people are gonna throw a bunch of different definitions, but basically, long story short, after I came out for Trump, a lot of these kind of establishment Republican types, even kind of on the college side, all kind of were like flipping out on me and saying I actually got canned from a college publication I was writing for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wasn't making money. I wasn't like making money, but like I was writing for this college Republican blog called Red Millennial at the time. They had a huge following, and then they decided to go Never Trump, and they fired me and like four other people, and we decided to start our own fit called American Watchmen, and that's that group podcast I do every week on Sundays.
Right, right.
And at the time, I wasn't even fully on board with Trump. What all I had said was, if Trump is the nominee, I'm going to vote for him because we cannot have another 4 to 8 years of lefty in power. We just simply can't. I will vote for whoever the party nominee is. I mean, I would have voted for Jeb.
Oh god.
Absolutely.
There's no way Jeb would have won. I'm so glad Trump scraped him because
Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm not saying that, but I'm not
oh,
saying.
for sure, right. You got no choice at that point, right? No, I get it. I get it.
But I mean, even just for saying I would. So
I tell you what, if Jeb was in office, I think we'd be way more involved in Syria. I give Trump credit. We're not involved in a lot of those things, and they tried to get him fucking to.
oh yeah, they
and
totally did.
and I didn't even like when he sent missiles. I was afraid we were going to start a new war in Syria, and it just was like, and I know they already got their own civil war, but
Yeah,
that was
my
for me a relief that he hasn't gone too deep in that. It's like good.
my
I don't
friend
want that.
my friends Josh and Gabe, they like to talk foreign policy a lot more than I do. I kind of, I'll admit, whenever we do those group podcasts, they're so much into the foreign policy stuff that I kind of get lost. But I I will say that yeah, I mean, the fact that we pretty much haven't been involved in very much is you know it's pretty good. I mean, Trump. I've said this before. I'm not really even kissing Trump's ass. As far as my lifetime goes, he's been one of the better, if not the best presidents in my lifetime.
A hundred
So,
percent, 100%. He's done a great job. He really has. I
so
just, I hope he wins re-election. I really do.
well, that's the thing. I don't know who the Dems are gonna run. I don't know who they have
I
to run.
tell you what, if Bernie gets the nomination, I'm afraid. Or if Biden gets the nomination, I'm afraid. Anybody else, I don't see a threat yet.
I
Because
don't.
here's my thing: like Biden and Bernie both have that genuine appeal, and people are stupid. I was talking to
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
I
I
was
don't.
talking to somebody recently that was like, yeah, like I couldn't vote for Hillary. She was telling me, which tells me she voted for Trump, but she was like, but I kind of liked Bernie, and I looked at her and I was like, how? Like, do you know what he stand? But they liked how genuine his appeal was. People don't know no issues. They really
Right.
don't. They just vote with who they think is genuine or honest or they trust. And
Yeah.
it's I mean, look at Island voted for Gary Johnson. Oh, Island. Gary Johnson. What did the state of Washington go? Was that red or it's got to be blue? That's got to be a blue state, right? With Seattle and all that. Did we
Yep.
did we lose Picris?
No, I'm here.
No.
All right.
Just reading something. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Biden screwed up. A member of his own party Me Too'd him today. Oh, I just read that before I jumped on this.
Oh wow, yeah. Let's
Good,
see.
good. He's a threat. He would have been a threat
Well,
last time. I'm glad he didn't run because the media would protect him because he said messed up stuff just like Trump has, but the media would protect him, so that stuff would just get blown over, you know.
I'm glad that the Me Too stuff is at least backfiring on them too. That's what that's what I will say about Me Too. But like my friend Josh and I have said, Me Too started out off as a good thing, with exposing the Hollywood guys, but then it just
Right,
became radicalized where every single guy is a Me Too case for, minor things,
right.
like even me, if I were to, go up to a woman and say, hey, your I like your, dress, or something, relatively minor, that would consider that would be considered Me Too. So
Yeah, I mean, only if you're a celebrity, I guess. If you're just everyday Joe and nobody gives a shit.
yeah, maybe, I don't know. Things are so crazy
Are
anyway.
they though?
So,
Are they? I feel like
well,
the media makes it seem like things are a lot worse than they are. When you go out places, like people aren't. Yeah, there may be the occasional person that is like super hypersensitive and all that. I still think most people don't give a shit. They just carry on with their own stuff.
well, no, well, no, you bring up a good point, and I would actually say to that. I mean, I would say to that kind of the same thing you're saying. Things have always been crazy, um, to a certain extent. So,
Yeah, I think that the media makes people think people are way more divided. They're nervous about everything, and I say this all the time. Like I think the media got behind the whole "don't talk religion and politics" because they don't want people to have discussions because they want to tell people what to think. And at the end of the day, like when you're having conversations, those are the things that matter more than weather, sports, movies, and stuff like that. Of course, that stuff's still fun to talk about, but if all you can talk about is weather, movies, and sports, like that's not right. You should be able to talk religion and politics and anything.
well,
And I think that came from the media. I don't know where that came from, but men used to go to bars, drink, and talk about what's going on in the world. And now people are afraid to talk about that stuff, and that's a bad thing.
yeah, that and see, that's kind of when I rebooted this show as the Whitfield Report, when I rebranded. That was really my whole goal, is just to have conversations with.
Right.
I mean, that's
Bless
why
you.
thank you. That's why Joe Rogan is so, popular, is he just has people, and they'll talk about, serious issues for 3, 4, 5 hours, just like we're doing. So,
Sure. No, I think people give Rogan a lot of shit, and he's definitely a lefty, but I just respect the fact that he has all kinds of people on his podcast. Good for him.
I
You
mean,
know.
he might be a left, again, he's a lot. I don't even like to use the term lefty. He's definitely more liberal, I think.
He believes in no borders. He believes in universal basic income. I mean, he's got
Yeah,
some far left views. He believes in the Second Amendment, I guess. So I guess you could say
Oh,
some things, but
yeah. I mean,
I wanted to add the other thing that brought me back to to Jesus was the death of my sister.
was what?
The death of my sister.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that.
oh, yeah. So sorry to hear that. So,
How did that bring you back to Jesus?
Just reminded me of my own mortality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it expected? How did she die?
She was in hospice care, and the fucking retards at the hospice fucking like ignored, like neglected her, and she
Jeez.
Jeez.
yeah, she passed away. It'll be a year next month.
Wow. How old was she?
47.
Mm.
Wow. So, sorry to hear that. Well, as long as we're I mentioned that my dad and I, we didn't get along, and then we did, and then we repaired things, and that was actually because my uncle died of alcoholism
Oh, I remember you said that. Yeah.
about 2 years ago, and it that definitely brought me back to Jesus, but it also brought me back to kind of, I wouldn't really say it brought me back to my dad, but it brought my dad back to me. That was one of the first times when he called and said, "Look, I know we've had our differences, but I don't want to hold a grudge anymore." He felt like I had taken my mom's side in their divorce, which I don't know why, because I was 9 when they got divorced,
Mm.
so I didn't really take anyone's side, but he felt differently. So long story short, we patched things up, and like I said, things aren't perfect, but they're better than they are. So again, you know,
Yeah, yeah, man. My sister was she was my half sister.
yeah,
Same father, different mother.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Um,
Yeah, man. It's been a
no, I mean,
I think it I think it I think um my sister passing away just just brought me back brought me back to um brought me back to my faith, you know?
Hmm.
yeah.
It's yeah.
Well, I will definitely tell you, and I'm not trying to brag, but I called Owen's alcoholism,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
did. You
and that
certainly.
and that was because I had kind of and this is the other reason why I really can't watch Owen anymore, other than the clips, is because his behavior reminds me of my uncle at the end. Maybe not to the level of maybe not to the same level
Right.
of behavior, but certainly certainly just little things like that raspy laugh that Owen has
Yeah.
going on. He's not in good health. So Owen, as much smack as I talk at you, I do actually, I don't know about the other guys, but I have prayed for you and your family.
That's good.
So
That's good.
so
Yeah. The thing is, guys, you guys would have liked my sister.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys would have loved her.
Why? What was she like?
Um, she was just the coolest. I mean, I have two other siblings. I have a brother and another sister, but my sister passed was she was the oldest, and I'm the youngest. so we had that bond.
Okay.
And
Makes sense.
but she was just a lot of fun. She was always cracking jokes and
That's cool.
just being the life of the party.
Wow.
We have two foul balls in here now. So
2 foul balls. Let's see here. I see 8 likes and 0 dislikes.
we have 14 likes and 2 dislikes now.
Oh
So
boy, I need to refresh this page. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I guess the dislikes are people don't like me. People don't like me talking about my dead sister. I guess.
no, no,
That's okay, dude. Look at it's all about engagement. So if people dislike, great. You want
no,
people to engage.
no, Pikers. What it is it's two of the bears disliking just because.
How do you know they're bears?
I mean, I can just kind of tell that they said
Are you making assumptions there, Samuel?
I'm not making assumptions. I'm just making educated analysis based on patterns. So, um,
You know it was gay. Calling myself a bear last year.
that was
That is actually gay. That is actually gay.
Yeah.
that was gay. You
And
know,
I had like 3 bear names. So it's triple gay. It was triple gay.
I had the one bear named Podcast Bear, and I didn't even take it seriously. I literally just did that so that people would ask, "Oh, what's your podcast?" and I could plug it. That was literally the only reason why I had a bear name. So,
Yeah.
Um.
Island, so I tried to be bipolar bear, but apparently someone else, so I said I was tripolar bear, and I was Christian bear, and I was Christian bear, aka the tripolar bear, aka I had one other aka, I can't remember.
I'm surprised nobody has just tried to become gay bear.
And there probably is a gay bear. I don't even know.
I
Actually, Island was Island fag for a while. Sorry, Island. I'm just kidding. Island, actually, so the whole Nimmer thing's your fault, and I'll tell you why. Get ready. You might not know this, Island, so this is news to you. So, in March of last year, Brian was naming all of his streams Island Fag for a while. And I remember at one point you got pissed. So I hit up Nimmer and I was like, yo, Nimmer, I was like, let's make fun of each other. That way, people will laugh and we won't be fighting with all the infighting and stuff. And, it'll all be good again. And he was like, all right, that's cool. And so we started making fun of each other on Twitter and whatnot. And it was all because, Island, you were getting pissed about Brian naming his streams after you. It's only because he loved you. That's all. Your Island streams were so entertaining. They were so entertaining. Oh, Pikers, I wish you were in the groups that we would do, man. It was just so funny. Oh my gosh.
Also, Island, in response to one of your Twitter comments, I never let the ROTC guys into the unbearable Facebook group when I was modding them. I just let several of my alt accounts in mostly, and then I kept banning. And then I kept banning the Nimmer supporters in the Facebook group. So
Yeah.
That was fun, destroying an entire Facebook group. So
Yeah. But here's something kind of kind of it's bittersweet, but it's kind of kind of interesting. So my sister passes away, right? A few months later, um, my my niece, um, her daughter gets pregnant, and she has a baby due in May.
con- congratulations, then I guess.
No, I'm just saying my my sister passes away, and then my niece gets pregnant. Hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting how that works out.
Circle of life.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
All
She's
right.
have my niece is having a baby boy.
That's awesome. Well, fellas, it's been real. I think I'm gonna check out. I'm getting a little
Yeah,
tired.
I think I'm gonna check out too.
Yeah, it's been about 4 hours. We've been doing this stream for about four,
4 hours.
maybe in 5 hours
Yeah.
long now. The time
Yeah.
flew by. So,
Yeah, it did.
well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Thanks to Evil for joining me, and I guess since today is Saturday on the East Coast, I'll be back on this channel in about
Oh, it's
six
Saturday
to
on the West Coast now too, isn't it?
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
so since it's Saturday, I'll be back on here at 8 p.m. So to
Yeah.
do
With
the
a
Saturday
special
edition.
guest, Eric Nimmer.
but
Hey
but
man, if you can make that happen,
No, it ain't
oh,
should have happened.
but
I may call him, but we'll see.
anyway, Sam, if you need me anytime, I'll be on anytime.
oh, happy to have you.
Yeah,
So
me too. This was a ball.
It
yeah,
was this was great.
yeah,
This was great.
I actually love having to. I actually like having this kind of roundtable format. I think it works well. So
Yeah. But anyway, Sam, I'll talk to you later, brother.
all right, you too.
All right, peace out, man.
Peace out. Peace out to you both. And once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Love you all. Thanks for all the likes and to the dislikes even. Thank you. That's interaction. So
Amen.
from all of us here at NGC Studios, good night. God bless and God save this great nation.